commemorate that a little bit, we're going to ask Mr. Morris to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd come to the podium and do that, please.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
He didn't state his name.
He didn't state his name, but I did. Okay. Okay, it is oral communication time. The public may speak on any item not on the printed agenda. No action may be taken by the board. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment at this time? Please come forth to the podium, state your name, and proceed.
My name is Joe Lewis Wildman. I am the political director for the California United Home Care Workers. And I know you have a closed session about labor relations, but what I want to talk about isn't even permissible for closed session. It's about Welfare and Institution Code section 12302.25, 1.25. And it's about the creation of a public authority to do the IHSS program. And I know many of you have only been here for a short period of time, some for slightly longer. IHSS has been around for a while. In 2003, the Welfare and Institutions Code was amended to create some carrots for you to create a public authority rather than be the employer of the IHSS workers. It also created a stick. It's all there in that section of the Welfare and Institutions Code. I want to talk about the carrot. The carrot is you recently set a wage at $8.42, which is 42 cents higher than the minimum wage that the IHSS workers have been working at for a long time. Had you had a public authority, you would have been able to draw down an additional $1.98 in federal and state money into the program, which you can't because you don't have a public authority. And all but 2 counties in California have created public authorities for that reason. This county and Alpine are the only 2 that don't, and Alpine has 26 IHSS workers. I really urge you to look at it and talk to some of your peers. I don't know which of you actually go to CSAC or how many of you are in touch with other folks. You have great staff, although one of them is retiring, who can talk to you about the effects of this on labor relations and on economic development, because drawing an extra $1.98 into the pockets of minimum wage workers bounces around this community. They don't take vacations in New York and go see Broadway shows. They spend it here, and it has a multiplier effect. So I really urge you to create a public authority. It's not difficult. You actually can sit as the public authority. You can contract with your own staff, and it would be invisible except that you would be able to draw an additional $1.98, which, believe me, the home care workers would like to see you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wildman. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment at this time?
Hello, my name is Michael Patterson. I'm an in-home supportive service worker, and I wanted to thank the board for setting the wage at $8.42 last year, and I hope you'll be receptive to improving the program further. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak public comment? If not, then I'm going to speak public comment.
You need to pass the gavel.
Board members and members of the public, it's a privilege to announce that the spring concert of the Columbia College Community Chorus will take place on, I'm supposed to state my name. Sorry, Randy Hanvelt, citizen of Tuolumne County. Saturday, April 27th at 7:30 and Sunday, April 28th at 3 o'clock at St. Matthew Lutheran Church. This is not a concert that you just attend or listen to. It's a concert you experience. I encourage you to schedule that in your time and witness and experience the Columbia College Community Chorus and their spring concert under the direction of the amazing, incomparable John Carter. I'll put some of these in the back of the room at break, and you can take them with you if you like. Thank you very much. Okay, with no further public comment, we'll move to the consent calendar. Ms. Jamar, would you read that, please?
Minutes of the meeting held on March 5th, 2013, finding that a summary of ordinance number 3218 was published, approving the appointment of Ann Frumd as the board member for the California State Association of Counties Excess Insurance Authority Board of Directors, accepting the resignation of Marcia Williams from the Tuolumne County Local Child Care Development Planning Council, and directing the clerk to send a letter of appreciation and post a notice of vacancy.
Okay, any member of the board want to pull any item? Seeing none, then the chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Royce to accept the consent calendar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Would you read item 5, please?
Consideration of proclaiming April 2013 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Tuolumne County, and the presentation of the 2013 Child Abuse Prevention Poster and Poetry Contest winners.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Hanvelt, members of the board. My name is Corey Ashton, and I'm here representing the Human Services Agency today and the Prevent Child Abuse Tuolumne County Coalition. With me today is not only staff from your Child Welfare Services program, but clearly members of the community, and I'd like to thank Bill Morse for bringing a larger number of representation there. We have children that represent the poster contest that we're going to discuss in a moment. We also have members of the Prevent Child Abuse Tuolumne County group, including our chair, Trix Copps. Just wave. We also have parent partners, people that work with our families in child welfare. We have community partners that serve on a preventative level. PCATC itself is a collaborative of community citizens, committed persons focused on one mission, and that is to prevent the tragedy of child abuse and child neglect in our community. We're parents and grandparents, public servants, educators, and service providers. Child Welfare Services is also strongly committed to the arm of prevention. We not only intervene after something has happened in the life of a child, but we work diligently with community partners, with AmeriCorps, who's also represented today, with Infant Child Enrichment Services as a differential response program where we go out and work with families before patterns of risk and patterns of abuse can be started. And that's done with a warm hand in the community, working with service providers that are also in the room today. Those efforts are coming true to us in the form of less placements that we're finding in foster care here in Tuolumne County. And that's exciting news. With that, I'd first like to ask that our members of the PCATC group stand and be acknowledged for the work that they do all year long to ensure. Please stand. Ginger's in the room. Thank you. It's a small group today. But with that, I also ask that Child Welfare Services staff stand, our parent partners, our differential response staff, and AmeriCorps, and any community partner that works hand in hand with this team to ensure the prevention of child abuse. This is not a job that we take lightly, and it's not a job that many choose to do on their own, but they do it because they're passionate about serving families. So we ask that you wear the blue ribbons that we've placed in front of you today. I also have them in a pin form. I will be happy to deliver them to you in a moment. Please wear these in honor of a child and in honor of those who have suffered at the hand of abuse. And wear these with a promise that you'll do something in the month of April to enhance the life of a child. With that, we respectfully ask that you join the national and statewide child abuse prevention effort by proclaiming April 2013 as Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Tuolumne County and signing this proclamation before you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? How about the public? Okay, the chair would entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that the board approve declaring April Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Okay, is there a second?
Chairman, I'd like to second that, but also comment and thank all of you for all the hard work that you do to help children. Thank you.
How come I got so many? And thank you for the presentation. Okay, Any comment from the public? If you'd like to comment, now's the time.
I would like to introduce Sarah Garcia with our Recreation Department to bring forward to you the poster and poetry contest.
I have a motion. Please.
Okay. Do you have to?
Pardon? Oh, I'm asking people if they want to comment on the motion, and then I'll do it, okay?
Oh, I'm not commenting on the motion. I'm here to introduce our poster winners.
Oh, okay. I'm going to call for the vote on the motion first. Then, okay. Okay. Motion by Supervisor Rutherford, second by Supervisor Gray to declare April 2013 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Tuolumne County, and we'll sign the resolution assuming we approve that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously, 5-0. And I'd like to add my thanks to all of you who work on this. It's a very important thing. Child abuse is inexcusable in my view, absolutely inexcusable, and it's up to all of us to pay attention. And keeping it in constant forefront of everybody in the spotlight is important because we need to take care of our kids. Okay. Posters. Is that item 6?
No, it's the same item.
Same item. Okay, well, turn it over.
Oh, okay. My name is Sarah Garcia. I'm the activity coordinator for the County Recreation Department. And I want to thank you for allowing us here today to honor some of our young talent in our child abuse prevention poster and poetry contest. I really want to say a thank you to the Prevent Child Abuse Tuolumne County Council for donating generously the cash awards for our poster and poetry contest winners. The theme this year is Happy Families Are Healthy Families, so all of our posters here are reflecting that theme. And at this time, I want to introduce our youth center coordinators who work closely with the children in our community, and they were the ones who coordinated their poster and poetry contests at their centers. So I want to introduce Mark Watts. He's our Groveland Youth Center coordinator. He's going to come up and give out the awards for his center. And also, we'd love if Supervisor Hanvelt could come down and assist us. Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Watts from the Groveland Youth Center. I'll be presenting awards for the center right here. You can see the posters right here. I'll start out with the first through third grade. If you hear your name called, would you please come up? In first place, we have Otto Enos. Second place, James Hobbs.
Good job. Congratulations.
Okay, in third place, we have Tommy Moore Johnson.
Congratulations. Good job.
And then in the fourth through sixth grade division, in first place, we have Cameron Simone.
Congratulations. First place is a big deal.
In second place, we have Haley Pollock. And in third place, Lucy Hessler. Okay, in the seventh and eighth grade division, in first place, Randy Scott. And in second place, Bradley Trevino. And third place, Zach Lipset. Thank you.
Now, are all these kids playing hooky?
No, they're out of school.
Oh, they're out of school. That's good. I'm feeling better.
Everyone's out of school. Next, I'd like to present our next Youth Center coordinator, John Propin.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all the youth for participating. This is my 11th year. It's hard to believe it's been 11 years, but it has. And it's always one of the high points of the year. I also like to thank the parents for taking time out of their schedules and making the effort to have their children here to be recognized and praised. It's always important to praise your children when they do good things. Never forget that. So, without further ado, from Jamestown in the first to third grade, third place, Sophia. Is Sophie here today? Where is she? Okay, Sophie's not here. In second place, Destiny. Destiny Johnson? All right. All right, sweetheart, can you point out your poster so everybody can see how great it is? Congratulations. And in first place, great gentleman here, Ben Gregson. All righty, moving on to 4th through 6th grade ages. Third place, Brianna Cravello. I know she's here. I saw her. Second place, one of the real characters out in the Jamestown community. The only 10, 11-year-old I know that had a chance to send a wire to Robert E. Lee out at the Civil War reenactment that we went out to. Second place, Ethan Bradford, DuPont. And first place, I don't think he's here because it's Sophie's brother, Warren Goldstein. So. Now to the 7th and 8th graders. I think these are all 8th graders. They'll be moving on to high school, and I will miss them terribly next year when they move on. Third place, Jennifer Batt. I know she's here. I saw her. Blanca, second place. Is Blanca here? There she is. She actually did two. She did one on like this huge, monster poster paper. I said it wouldn't fit, so she went back home and she did another one. And finally, I don't know what to say about this young man. He is a young man of many talents, many seasons. Everybody loves him. Everybody knows him. Levi Lowe. I know he's here.
Good job, Levi.
Again, thank all you guys from Jamestown. You always come through. You always care. And you get the issue at hand. I know you do. So, Tuolumne, who's going to... There we go. Here's Sarah again.
Sarah Garcia again. And I'm here representing the Tuolumne Youth Center. Robert Johnson is our Tuolumne Youth Center coordinator, and he actually works at Jamestown School during the day, so he's not here right now. And I'm not sure if there's any kids here from Tuolumne, but we'll announce their names and congratulate them. First place in our 1st through 3rd grade is Tyler Tinkle. Second place is Avery Booth. Third place is Joey Enos. Oh, that was for the 4th through 6th grade. And second place for 4th through 6th grade is Riley Booth. In third place is Matt Hoskins. Okay. And for the 7th and 8th graders, first place is Robert Enos. And second place is Alicia Villegas. And third place is Brandon Forrester. Now I'm going to do our poetry winners. I also want to thank all the County Superior Court judges. They're the ones that came and actually decided on the winners for the poster and poetry contest. They had a tough job, and I just wanted to say thank you to them. Now we're going to do our poetry contest winners. And first place for our poetry contest is Chris Mendoza. Is Chris here? And second place is Teresa Cardinal. And that is all. So thank you very much. Thank you for having us here today, and I thank you for coming up and awarding our...
I'd just like to say one comment here. You know, I had a discussion with Mark Trupner about the serious things we do here at Board of Supervisors, and he said to me, he says, "Oh, I guess you really never have any fun, do you?" This is fun. This is lots of fun. And thank you for everybody who participated in this, particularly the young people. And congratulations to all the winners. This is terrific. This is fun for us, and it's certainly a lot of fun for me. And so I congratulate all of them, and I congratulate those who support this program. This is wonderful. Thank you.
And actually, if you wouldn't mind, we're going to just take a couple minutes so that all of our kids can get up and leave the room and get back to school.
Oh, so some of them were playing hooky.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you, sir. Very nice.
Thank you. Gee, I thought we had a big crowd because everybody was interested in the agenda.
They were
That part of the agenda.
up to number 5. They were real interested.
Okay. Mr. Moore, would you read item 6, please?
Presentation of a county service award to an employee of the Assessor Recorder's Office.
Is Mr. Caetano here? There he is. Okay.
Morning, Chairman Hanvelt, members of the board, Ken Catano, Assessor Recorder, and it gives me great pleasure to be here when Carol Jackson has reached her 20th year working for the county. Gives me the great pleasure because she's now working for me instead of working for Bev over in Community Resources as she did for most of her career. I just have to say that the expression "out of the frying pan and into the fire" comes to mind for Carol, because she has some big shoes to fill in that she's taken over for Patsy Knox, who was here working for the county for 40-plus years. And she has started to fill up those shoes very well. She's learned so much in less than a year that she's been with my office that it's impressive, and she's also gained the respect of all the people that work for her. And I don't know what else to say about Carol. She's an amazingly talented woman with a lot of skills, and I just want to say thanks to her for coming to work for me, because that has made my life a lot easier. So with that, I'd like to present this to Carol Jackson.
A few words. It's been an amazing 20 years, and I can tell you it. Oh, yeah, Carol Jackson, assistant recorder with the Assessor Recorder's Office. 20 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be an assistant recorder, I can tell you that. Making a life change in a career at 55 isn't what I planned, but we're doing fine, and we're moving forward, and hopefully I don't have to do another 20 years before I get to leave. So thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. 20 years of service, dedicated service. I know I've worked with Carol directly when she was over in Public Works, and amazing job. So we thank you for your service and your contribution and your commitment to the county and the people of our county. Okay. Well, let's move to item 7. Would you read that, please?
Consideration of recognizing and commending Bill Morris on the occasion of his retirement as the County of Tuolumne Human Resources Risk Manager.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm not going to say it's with pleasure that I introduce this item. Actually, I'm very happy for Bill, and a little selfish in considering him leaving today. However, before you is a resolution for your consideration. It honors a 39-year career, 12 of which is had been served in law enforcement, 14 years of which was in private sector safety and loss control work, and the last 13 years we've been blessed to have Bill Morris as a member of our human resources staff. I think the resolution speaks for itself. But Mr. Chair and members of the board, with your indulgence, I'd like to read a few things that provide a little body to what's in that resolution. And these are some things that I pulled out of Bill's file over the years, and I think it's fitting that I read them today. This one goes back all the way to 2004 from a younger assistant CAO by the name of Craig Pedro. Something I don't do enough is to acknowledge the good work of those who work with and around me. This is one time I have felt compelled to stop myself and do so. Bill, your work over the last several months has been simply outstanding. You've been thrust into several new and sometimes very uncomfortable roles with bargaining, employee discipline, internal investigations, development of department improvement plans, and most recently filling in for Eric during his month-long absence from the office. You have done this work well and without complaint, and I just wanted to let you know how much you are appreciated and valued. You're the man. Thanks for the heavy lifting you've been doing. I truly enjoy working with you, and I'm very proud to have you as a member of my extended staff. Keep up the good work. Still true today. Rolling the clock forward, the resolution speaks to the work that Bill had done during the very difficult times of Tuolumne General Hospital and the conversion there. And I know the prior board was well aware of this, make the current board aware. Bill and the other folks in HR were outstanding. We had set a goal to try and reemploy every person as we close that facility into other employment. And for the most part, we were very successful. I think out of the 300 and some odd staff that left Tuolumne General Hospital, only about 8 of those who wanted a job we were not able to find a job. And much of that is to Bill's credit. So here's a letter from then HR Risk Manager Eric Larson to Bill. I want to thank you for coordinating and staffing the job fair for hospital employees. I know the time it took to coordinate with all the other employees, the job connection in the fairgrounds, as well as communicate with the TGH employees. Your efforts reflect your personal concern and that of the county to try and assist employees who will be laid off in every way possible. And again, much to thanks to Bill, there's great success in reemploying folks. Then Supervisor Mark Thornton wrote to Bill the same time frame. Bill, hopefully you've seen my letter to Eric thanking HR for the work you all do, but I wanted to send you a personal note as well. Your sensitivity during the hospital issues to worker stress and the political dynamics of that process was greatly appreciated by me. Because of your compassion and the understanding of the difficulties, I felt comfortable in asking for your advice about the meetings I had held at the hospital and about the letters I wrote. If not for you, I probably would not have gone to the last night of operations of Tuolumne General Hospital. Your assistance and counsel was critical in helping me get through that tough time. My best wishes in your future endeavors. Kindest regards, Mark Thornton. After the hospital, we took on, actually, instead of privatizing, then we took inside our behavioral health department. It had been for years, decades, contracted. And here's a letter from, at that time, the Director of Behavioral Health, B. Riddell. Dear Bill, you have been part of Tuolumne County history. July 1st, 2008 signified a new beginning for behavioral health in Tuolumne County. At this time, the behavioral health staff welcomed the new county employees, some transitioning from Kingsview Corporation. The task of transitioning from a contract provider to a county department has been monumental. However, we have been very fortunate to be able to call upon professionals like yourself to help make this change go smoothly. This would not have been possible if we did not have folks like you lending us your talents and skills. We know that changes like this affect people in their personal and professional lives. With your assistance, this transition has been relatively seamless. Without your help and participation, this could have been more daunting and uncomfortable. We can close this chapter and leave our meetings with a feeling of accomplishment and success. Thanks for a job well done. We really appreciate your participation and willingness to be part of this endeavor. Around that same time, just a few notes from employees, actually several notes from employees had come in. I just wanted to read a couple. To Bill, hey, thought I would drop a line to personally thank you for the opportunity when it presented itself. No one could have foreseen the deep cuts necessary here in California. You're the kind of manager that meets with people one-on-one to get things done, and I like that. Thanks again for the chance. P.S. I may have to retrain, but here's to a better future, my friend. From another employee, note to say thank you for all the Herculean efforts. You and your staff have done unbelievable things in less than 6 months. I can't tell you how comfortable I felt in the interview. Thanks again. In the resolution, it talks about an ethics program. That was something that was envisioned way before AB 1234, using the Josephson Institute on Ethics materials, and both Ann Fremd and Bill had been trained in that and launched those initial training efforts. And here's a letter from actually Bev Shane, then CDD Director. Dear Bill, thank you for the outstanding ethics training you provided to the Community Development Department this morning. Staff found the information you and Ann shared to be thought-provoking, inspiring, and enlightening, and will use it to enhance our day-to-day interactions with the public and other county employees. Again, thank you for providing us with a most enjoyable presentation. And then no detail would go unnoticed with Bill. You know, these are big things, but even taking care of a worker who is having discomfort at their workstation with ergonomics. Here's a note. Good morning, Bill. I'm so pleased with the changes made at my workstation. I couldn't be more pleased. In the past, I would use two different pillows to help elevate my back pain. Since your visit and the adjustments made, I haven't had a need for either one, no pain. The additional workspace and convenience has made a real positive difference. I want to thank you again for your assistance. It has made such a difference. And on it goes, you know, in the career of Bill Morse here, you know, with the county in human resources. Okay, Christina's in the room. I'm going to pull it out. No, I'm just going to really miss Bill. He's you know, as you can tell, he's a caring, compassionate professional. He's been a friend, and I've mentioned other people. He's also been my closest counselor throughout my time as CAO. There you have it.
Okay. I think I'd open that to the public, but we might be here all night. But I would like to entertain a motion from the board to approve this resolution.
I so move.
There's a second?
Very happily, I second it.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Gray, a second by Supervisor Roderfer to approve the resolution recognizing and commending Bill Morris on the occasion of his retirement as the County of Tuolumne Human Resources and Risk Manager. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Anybody want to make any comment now?
Yeah, I'd just like to make one. adding up the years of service here of Bill, and 39 years. You couldn't get one more year, make it 40. You know,
We could have a resolution to that effect.
So moved.
it's not tough enough. No, I really appreciate Bill's counsel. You ask me a question, you get a good answer, not the one you always want, but a good honest answer. And I hope that we can continue to share a few of those good books. We'll have a drop-off spot downstairs, so I've got some good ones that I want to pass to you, and I'm sure you've got some that would help educate me a little bit better too. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, it's been a short time for me, but again, 39 years, that's got a quality all of its own. But what Tuolumne County is really losing is the man, and that will be difficult, if not impossible, to replace. Thank you very much for your service.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Mr. Morris, would you come up, please? You're moving slowly. Are you reluctant? You're worried about what I might say?
Bring it on.
You know, one of the privileges of being the chairman of the board is you get to read people out. I started with a judge, and I survived that, so maybe you're going to be easier. I said that because you were here, Judge. But I noticed, our proclamations have your home on the front cover. Okay, Bill, first of all, I would like to make my comments. This man is a true professional. He is, I think... Supervisor Gray said, you may not like the answer, but it's a straight answer, and he's very thoughtful about how he does that. He's a gentleman and a friend, and it's always a privilege to just see him in the hall, if no place else. He's just a privilege to say hello to. But I'm going to read some things about you, and so brace yourself. This is a resolution from the Board of Supervisors of the County of Tuolumne. Whereas Bill Morris is nearing retirement, I think you are retiring, nearing retirement after a varied career in law enforcement, safety and loss control in the private sector, and human resources with the County of Tuolumne. And whereas Mr. Morris served a total of 12 years in law enforcement. His first 9 years are spent with the Stockton Police Department. Glad you're not there, they're bankrupt. 4 years there, and Fremont Police Department 5 years. His last 3 years are spent as a sergeant and watch commander with the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Department, where he supervised patrol, dispatch, and detectives, managed the field training officer program, and helped form and supervise the county's first SWAT team. And, by the way, Sheriff, if you're looking for a recruit, experience. Mr. Morris also served over 10 years as the Director of Safety and Loss Control for the Sonora Mining Corporation, and nearly 4 years as Safety Director at Sonora Community Hospital. And whereas Bill Morris joined the staff of Tuolumne County Human Resources Division on May 1st, 2000, while a member of that division, he served as a Human Resources Analyst, 1, 2, and Senior, Deputy Human Resources Manager, and was ultimately appointed to Human Resources Risk Manager on September 12, 2010. Upon his retirement on April 5, 2013, Mr. Morris will have served a total of 13 years within the division. And whereas during his tenure with the Human Resources Division, Bill Morris has made several important contributions, not the least of which include, 1, revitalizing the county's safety program and chairing the county's safety committee, 2, helped initiate the county's first ever ethics training program, 3, played an integral role in the transitioning of staff to new employment opportunities as Tuolumne General Hospital and the Visiting Nurses Association and Hospice of the Sierra were privatized. 4, oversaw the personnel functions of taking the Behavioral Health Department in-house from its longtime private sector provider. And 5, helped guide numerous reorganizations, staff reductions, and difficult labor negotiations during the height of what became known as the Great Recession. And whereas through all this turmoil, Bill Morris remained well-liked and respected amongst both county managers and line staff because he approached his work with skill, fairness, honesty, integrity, and earnest care for people. Bill was simply known as a really nice guy with a very tough job to do. And whereas throughout his career he has been loyal and made tremendous contributions to each of his employers and yet reserved his best for his family, wife Yvonne, daughters Julie and Sarah, and 6 grandchildren. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors wishes to thank and commend Bill Morris for his exemplary service to the County of Tuolumne and its employees. And be it further resolved that the Board of Supervisors wishes Bill and Yvonne great happiness and enjoyment in retirement with their children and grandchildren. Bill's cycling exploits and touring in their new Airstream travel trailer, and adopted, as you know, by the Board of Supervisors on County of Tuolumne on April 2nd. Mr. Morris, I'm sorry to see you go, but I wish you all the best. I hope you have lots of fun in retirement. You've been great. Would you do us a favor besides saying a few things? You brought a lot of people here who are very important. Would you mind introducing them to us?
Out loud.
Well, did you want to do it silently?
Sure. Do I need to state my name, Alicia? Okay, I wish it was a stand-in, but I am Bill Morris. I might need it. My family. Well, that's a great place to start, Randy, and I appreciate that because I wouldn't have made it here without them. So, if you wouldn't, well, I'll start with my in-laws, Bob and Betty Allard, who I met, I think it was November, when I arrived at their front door for my first date with their daughter. I don't mean to turn my back on you, 1966. So, thanks for being there all these years. And I guess next would be my daughters, Julie, the oldest, kind of the silent, strong one of the two. Not that, Sarah, you're not strong. You're just a little more gregarious. Got the most caring heart of anybody I think I know. Thanks for blocking my view, Joe. That helps. Yeah. So the daughters here, Bob and Betty's, my wife Yvonne, we're working on 43 years of marriage. And I can't count how many years we've known each other, so I won't even try. But when I think about the support you've given me, both silently and vocally when I needed it, I just thank you for being there, and I love you. You've been my soulmate, and I appreciate just everything you've done over these many years. And like I said, I don't think I'd be up here without her. We went through some difficult times, not the least of which was law enforcement, and those that are in the field know how challenging that is to a spouse of a cop, worrying and not knowing if you're going to come home at night, or, well, most times it was night for me. But anyway, those are tough years, and certainly with the job I've been doing for the last several years. And I just like to pause because I'm struggling trying to come up with something to say. I've got all kinds of things to say, but I don't want to take up your agenda. But thank you, Board, you and your predecessors, for your recognition, your appreciation. Some of what you read, Mr. Hanveld, I think might be slightly exaggerated, but I appreciate the comments. And some of your previous boards, your patience has been remarkable. I'm going to save you for last, Craig, but I've forgotten most of that stuff. And I don't know if anybody here is from the hospital. That was the toughest thing I ever had to do. And there is one, at least I see now, Rita. I know that my signature is on over 300 layoff letters, and of those 300, some of them I'm pretty certain I hand-delivered 95% more. I don't know. It was a bunch of them. And so, blessings to wherever your counterparts are. I know most of them are in jobs, and I'm starting to ramble, so I'm sorry. I guess it's time to go. I come back to what, oh, I know something really significant I just thought of. I don't even see where you are. Where's my staff? Oh, they're spread out. The HR staff. The only, besides my family, the fact that I'm up here and I'm getting this recognition and supposed accomplishments is not because of me, it's because of who I work with. And I remember right out of college, my dad said, give it your best shot, do it quietly, don't make a big deal out of it, but your job is to make your boss look good. And when I look at Jeannie, Barbie, Jamie, and Ann, there's the accomplishment. I don't think there was a time I ever asked them to do something twice or do it better, because they hit that mark every single time. And I know that the office is in great hands moving forward. Ann will raise the bar, I believe. And maybe a week from now you might remember me, but reality is they've got it covered. So, the accomplishments, I don't know. I consider myself a pretty humble guy. I like to say a humble servant. I'm not really necessarily wanting to be up here in the spotlight being recorded, but I can't help but thank you for the kind words. And Mr. Pedro, you've been a boss beyond comparison. There's none that measure up in my mind. I thank you for the time and the patience and the mentoring. I've learned an awful lot from you. You set the bar awful darn hard, boss. I couldn't quite reach it, but I hope you know that I tried as hard as I could to get everything done. But the most important thing that, and this is what I'm going to miss about my job, the stress and some of the pressure, I'll leave that go. But it's all about relationships. And I think that's the core of human resources, is people. And I think if I did accomplish anything, it's because I have a passion and I care about people, and I always try to respect them, regardless of the circumstance or the outcome. And my goodness, there were some tough ones. But Craig, what I treasure most, and words that echo through my mind continuously, is beyond being a good boss and I hope a good subordinate, you're just a great friend, you and Ruth. And I'll treasure that and pray that it continues on beyond today. And so I think I'm done. Appreciate the words. I appreciate folks stopping by, taking out from their busy days. And thank you, board, and God bless the county.
Bill Morris, you will be missed. That's why all these people were here. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll take about a 3 or 4 minute break, let people wipe their eyes and catch their breath. Call the meeting back in session, and we'll ask the clerk to read item 8, please.
Consideration of approving correspondence commenting on the Merced Wild and Scenic River Comprehensive Management Plan and draft environmental impact statement.
Mr. Richardson.
Yes, good morning. Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. As one of the prominent features in Yosemite National Park, Merced River is one of the world-renowned features with its breathtaking waterfalls and calming meadows nearby that attract millions of visitors each year. In order to preserve this treasure for generations to come It is critical that the Merced Wild and Scenic River Comprehensive Management Plan and Draft Environmental Impact Statement, that's a mouthful, reflect a balance between visitor access and ecological stewardship. The National Park Service has gone to great lengths to solicit comments on this plan, including holding scoping and comment meetings in a variety of gateway communities, including South County and Groveland. So the question is, what are some of the noticeable changes that are proposed in this plan? It enhances traffic flows. It prevents pedestrian auto conflicts. There's also a slight increase in the number of campsites. At the same time, there's elimination of some services as follows: Yosemite Lodge swimming pool, bicycle rentals, Curry Village ice skating rink, the Curry Village raft rentals, and day horseback rides. Those are just some of them. There's also a reduction of some services that are available at the Merced Lake High Sierra Camp, and they're also proposing to eliminate the Sugar Pine Historic Bridge due to river impacts that are occurring. It should be noted that over the course of the Merced River Plan's public meetings, there is evidence that the Yosemite Park staff are hearing the comments and that they are responding to some of them. They are looking at relocating the Curry Village ice rink, and as well as placing some new self-serve bicycle rentals. This is the board's opportunity to comment. We have commented previously on this same plan. This is one of our last opportunities to comment. This item was taken to the Natural Resources Committee, and a proposed letter was prepared, and we've since modified that letter from the comments. The actual Merced River Plan has 6 alternatives. They have a preferred alternative, including your packet shows the various alternatives. The National Park Service is recommending alternative number 5. The alternative that we are recommending, the letter that your board could recommend, is alternative 6, that is included in your letter, that increases some visitors' services at the same time securing, making sure the ecological impacts are not negative. So with that, your board is welcome to modify the letter and make comments.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, just a couple. One is, I think it's a good letter. You covered the points very, very well, and thanks for the work of the Natural Resource Committee. You know, the importance of our participation is that you know that the icon of our county is Yosemite National Park, and it does benefit the county from the standpoint of the visitors, but it's also something, as people that live here, it is something that we enjoy ourselves. So I believe the letter does a good job of outlining those important things, and I do think that there is ways to keep some of those historic features that have been there for 40, 50 years, like the ice rink and the swimming pool, just to add more enjoyment to the visitors. So I support the letter.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? How about the public? Get another chance. I knew Mr. Phelan was here to speak to this subject.
Jim Phelan, I guess Natural Resources Committee. I was just here to check and see how the letter was going after our last meeting. I haven't actually seen it. I would like to, my probably preferred alternative in this case would have been alternative 1, no change, if that's the normal alternative 1. We seem to be too busy trying to improve on something that's really good already. Maybe that's the name of the game. But I hope we get a strong enough letter that they do pay attention to us to keep like the bridges in and the ice rink and the horse rentals, and there's a lot of stuff going on that they just seem to want to change it. That's my concerns.
Thank you. Any further comment from the public? Board? A comment?
Yeah. Go ahead, Sherry. I'll let you go first.
And I want to thank Jim for the committee does give a lot of input to these letters. And kind of agree with Jim's point, even though we are supporting Alternative 6, It's always troubling to me how these plans come up with their preferred alternative, we're going to lose 1,000 sites. Alternative 6, we're going to gain 1,000 sites. Well, the combination of really just leaving the sites where they're at so that, we're not engaging in what are additional potential impacts has some merit. And certainly, I think you captured really well, Daniel, the essence of we want to keep the maximum amount of visitor opportunities, and that's really, I think that's probably critical along with the historical structures. And you did kind of, you did capture both those elements, and I think those were the two priorities that I heard from, the committee in the discussion, is maintaining those opportunities. I just, like I said, I'm troubled that alternative, there's pieces of probably alternative 1, alternative 5, and alternative 6 that are appropriate, but get very difficult to put into the analysis. They did a much better job in alternative 5 with the overpass and being able to move folks around, but that wasn't included in alternative 1 or alternative 6, I believe. And so I don't know if there is an opportunity to pull, if we had a discussion and said, okay, like the overpass, I think that definitely improves in circulation and has the ability to move people around with alternative 5, but really that would probably be the major piece of that alternative that has real merit, I think, for our comments, is how they look at moving folks around within, that's predominantly on the valley floor. Then beyond that, I don't know, maybe can we pull a few? How do they view that? If you pull pieces of alternatives, does that completely negates because then they're really looking at a completely different alternative, correct?
Yeah. I believe that the pedestrian overpass, underpass option, I believe it's in all of the alternatives.
Oh, I didn't see it in 6.
I believe that there are some at the very beginning that it lists all of these are being completed, that they're recommended in all of the alternatives other than, obviously, status quo. I have to look in that specifically, but I believe that is in all of them. But yes, you can pick and choose which features you would like, and they will definitely consider that. You're right. It may not fit into their model the way they have it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we can definitely include that in a letter.
Right. I mean, because I think with alternative 6, they're not going to like increasing capacity by 1,000, and I certainly don't like decreasing it in alternative 5 by 1,000, and so if the status quo on that, keeps us, I think it was at 21,000. I don't remember. I mean, if that makes it more palatable, if you will.
Yeah, I should note also, I've received comments from others about what is status quo. We have 1987 was when the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act came into being, and in 1997 we had the flood in Yosemite Valley. It wiped out some of the services. So those services in terms of campsites haven't been restored. So really, what is the baseline? Is it what was in 1987? Is it what was after 1997 floods? Not all those campsites were restored. And so that's a question that we need to grapple with, and we're just saying the baseline is what is today in 2013. That's what is in the Merced River Plan. You can make an argument that our baseline is higher in terms of user capacity than what they're currently stating in the plan. Therefore, it should be at least number 6. Just another way of looking at the plan.
Well, that's an important point. What is the baseline? So they're saying it is today's
number of campsites. The maximum number of visitors is those that came, I think, a couple years ago when the rivers were flowing really well and we had lots of water. That is the baseline.
Okay.
Just okay.
One more thing, Randy. Just and just as kind of a in your first paragraph, Our board continues to advocate for maximum accessibility with minimum restrictions to visitors while responsibly protecting the environment, period. I think that's great, and I would just leave off the last sentence because I think that highlights exactly what our position is.
Okay.
Okay, Sherry, where are you talking about here?
So therefore, any comments submitted by our board will reflect a desire to emphasize user experience. I would leave that off because I think in the sentence previous we state that we advocate for the maximum accessibility with minimum restrictions to visitors while responsibly protecting the environment. I think that captures the essence and feeling of what we're trying to put forward.
I don't have any problem with it. I just think the last sentence kind of reaffirms what we said before.
Okay, Supervisor Rotifer?
Yeah, I agree with just about everything Sherry said, probably everything that Sherry said, Supervisor. But my concern with the letter as well is it doesn't sound like we're very strong on where we stand. We prefer alternative 6. I think we need to be very powerful in our recommendation or our comments on this. And I don't see that this letter gets it. I just don't think the language is strong enough. And I don't want to sit here with the public's time and try and reword it. But when I read through this letter, I got to the end and I go, oh, so Tuolumne County kind of wishes that we would pick alternative 6, but they're okay with alternative 5 or just about anything else we do. I don't think that's... If we really care, like we said up front, that it's an essential part of Tuolumne County, then I want us to say that. I want us to say we believe that of the alternatives, the best alternative is number 6. If the decision is to go with alternative 5, then these elements of alternative 6 should be included in alternative 5. In other words, talk very directly to what the elements of the alternatives that we're considering are that we think are absolutely essential to be protected. And I don't think this letter does that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay for now.
Pardon? Okay. I've got a few comments. I agree with everything that's been said, especially what Supervisor Rotifer said. My note here is stronger support for Alternative 6. One of my problems with this, and I said some of this before, but I want to say it for the public record, is that if you look at this, most of the options they put forth for us to consider are a severe degradation of services and a severe degradation of the availability of an incredible natural resource to the public. We need to maximize the access and the experience. And taking away things like the skating rink and the swimming pool and the horseback riding bothers me. The concept of taking away the bridge is inexcusable. In this county, if we had that bridge someplace and we suggested taking it out, I think we'd have riots in the street. It's inexcusable that they want to do that. That bridge has been there, according to the data, 85 years. I mean, so we want to take it out? It's part of the ambiance of Yosemite and the access and the experience. I generally agree with Supervisor Rotifer that I'm a little worried when I read this over, and I read it about 3 times, that, well, Tuolumne County prefers alternate 6, but they'd be okay with alternate 5. No, I don't think so. I think we need alternate 6, and I'm not even sure that alternate 6 restores the maximum campsites, for instance, that were once there. I don't think it does. They've taken out parking spaces. There is a degradation of the opportunity and the experience
over time, and we need to resist that. And we need to resist it because it is a public place, and it is for the public access and the public benefit that the park was initially dedicated by Teddy Roosevelt himself. We're violating the spirit of what the Park Service is supposed to be doing here. I do not see a degradation of the environment by maintaining and improving the access. And if we get to the point where we're degrading the safety or the environment, I'll be the first to line up and say, okay, enough's enough, but we're not doing that. And so I think we need to make it a little bit stronger in Alternative 6, is my opinion.
Okay, and I agree, the stronger the better. The point is, though, what we have to not lose sight of is this is something that is being done by court order. The Park Service was sued on a previous Merced River plan, and it had to change. And it's obvious that there's going to have to be some sort of balance for the park in order to operate, and there's some certain conditions that environmentally that if they don't fix, we won't have a valley floor, from the standpoint of the river washing the banks away. And I have been to countless meetings on this over the last 4 years, and I do believe the Park Service is trying to do their best to maximize the user experience, because we've centered on that. Every meeting that we've gone to, we've talked about we want people to be able to use the park the maximum of ways that they can possibly use it, but still understand it does have a capacity, it does have a human capacity, and basically mostly dealing with vehicles itself. So I want to get as many people in there to use it, but I still want to have a park, and that's you and I agree. That's the balance that we have to look at. So I think what the Park Service is trying to do here is trying to do something that will be acceptable to everyone. An impossible task in just the beginning. So strong is fine, but then understand that we're going to have some sort of plan.
Agreed.
I just want to highlight something that Supervisor Gray mentioned and talk about it a little bit. The fact that we're doing this is a result of a lawsuit. And if you want to get something done, that's how you do it. We're falling into a process that's just basically, a due diligence for the Park Service to say that they got public comment. Doesn't mean they have to listen. They'll try to make people happy, but in the end, the person that's putting this stuff together isn't going to say, oh, Tuolumne County is powerful in this letter and we're going to listen to them or not. I think a lot of times we write these letters and it doesn't really make a difference. I think if we want to make a difference, I think we need to learn as a board to take a stance legally in some cases. And I don't know if this is the case for that or not, but I think just as a big picture thing for us, I think that's a process that we haven't engaged in. And I think that we do have some authority and some power there that may get results beyond what we're able to accomplish with merely a letter. So I don't know in the future if it's possible to agendize a closed session to actually talk about how we can follow those types of processes and what our abilities are and what the potential risks, costs, and all those things are.
You can certainly agendize a closed session for a particular pending litigation or potential litigation. So if you see an issue that the board feels they want to join in litigation, we can do a closed session for that. For more general litigation overview, that's really got to be an open session.
Okay. I'm interested in both of those things. I think maybe the first step is just to have an overview and to look at maybe a history of those types of situations, maybe other cases of counties where that's been done and what's been effective or not. And then in this particular case, like I said, I don't know if that's necessarily relevant, but that seems to be how people get things done. A letter doesn't cut it.
Okay.
Besides that, I agree with what the board has said, and I think we're all pretty unified in our view of what needs to happen with the park.
Ms. Brennan?
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, if we just delete the fourth paragraph about alternative 5 and concentrate with our comments on alternative 6, which is our preferred alternative, if that will help clarify for purposes of getting this letter in.
If we, I guess my question is, based on what I've heard from across the dais and also from staff, would it be useful to go back and say we strongly prefer alternative 6 if alternative 5 is the selected option? We would like to see the following elements of 6 incorporated to give them a way out a little bit, but still capture those things. Because my sense is the snowball's rolling downhill, and it's rolling for option 5. So just a brief, strong statement that we strongly prefer alternative 6. However, if alternative 5 is chosen, here are the things in alternative 6, or the things that are not in alternative 5. I don't want to limit it to just the things that are in 6, but here are the things that are not in alternative 5 that would make alternative 5 palpable to Tuolumne County if they were included. Some language such as that.
Question, Daniel, are we getting close to the deadline for comment?
Yes, this is really your board's last opportunity to comment. I believe, is it April, I want to say 18th.
18th,
yeah. Yeah, 18th. So you do have one more meeting on the 16th. You're cutting it close, but we could come back to you with a stronger letter that meets.
They won't look at them till after the 18th anyway, right?
Correct. Yeah, so we do have another opportunity if you wanted to come
We'd look at it on the 16th?
Could.
That would be fine. I mean,
okay.
If we got, as long as we don't miss our comment period, that's
okay. Let me just ask if the public has any further comments. With that, I'm going to suggest that we rewrite the letter and bring it back on the 16th, and then we have to hand deliver it.
Well, it's all submitted electronically.
Okay.
You can also bring this to the Natural Resources Committee one more time.
Okay.
With a draft letter.
Okay, so we're going to rely on the Natural Resources Committee to rewrite the letter for us.
Right, and we'll bring it back on the 16th.
Okay.
We got the comments, and we can do that.
Maybe Mr. Richardson could do a draft prior to the national,
right,
to the resource, just so that don't start from scratch.
Okay, now you're down to 1 week.
Is the general direction for the redrafting to strongly state our support for alternative 6 and to state those things in alternative 5 that may be included?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, that consensus will continue that till the 16th. Okay, would you clerk read item 9, please?
Consideration of approving correspondence on the United States Forest Service Science Synthesis Study.
Yeah, I think that's you again.
Yes. Good morning, Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. A science synthesis study was created in preparation for some forest plans up north in California, and this study was supposed to bring the best of science forward and to use this in preparation of these forest plans. The stewards of the Sequoia issued a letter to the U.S. Forest Service just making comments about the study, and they're finding that several of the references in this science synthesis study were not accurate, and that some of the science was not good enough, and also there wasn't a balanced approach in actually applying the science that was in this study. Why are we concerned? It's because the Stanislaus National Forest plan process will begin in the next 12-24 months, and so we want to make sure that when our plan is created that it once again that we have balanced use of science. So we are the Natural Resources Committee proposed that we write a letter letter commenting on the use of this good science, a balanced science. And so we have a letter that is proposed for your adoption, which hopefully is a good balance, strong, that says we need to make sure that good science is used. So once again, a letter is here for your comment and approval.
Okay, questions from the board? Mr. Irvin?
I assume the Natural Resources Committee looked at this. Okay.
Yeah, and I have a couple of comments. Probably is the realization that this is incredibly important for us, because the Southern Forests are developing their plans. They are using this science synthesis as the basis for a lot of their assumptions. And there is a lot of discussion amongst a number of multiple use communities that, and I don't know, unbalanced isn't necessarily the word as much as incomplete. The science synthesis is, at this point, not incorporating what is the best science available. And we need to be certain that they're doing that. So I would, again, there's probably a couple places where I would add, in the third paragraph, we need to use the word that their future unbalanced scientific studies, it's really, they are incomplete. They are not using all of the available science.
Change the word unbalanced to incomplete.
And this is a starting place where we're entering the dialogue. I think there will be a lot more to come.
To add to that, I recently attended a meeting for the grazing permittees with the U.S. Forest Service, and intellectually that was not a very satisfying meeting. Being a scientist myself, I find it interesting how, at least on the surface, it appears that if someone proposes that there may be a problem, immediately we react to that problem, that hypothesized problem on the conjecture, and we restrict things. And then we do studies, and I'm referring to the Yosemite toad study, and I read that myself, and the impression that study gives is that there is no negative impact from grazing on the meadows and impact on the toads. In fact, there was some positive impact associated with grazing in the meadows. Now, the comment I got back was, well, not during metamorphosis, and that is not what the study says. I've asked 14 people, I think, that order of magnitude, who read the study, and they all agree with my interpretation that it was no impact. If you're restoring the meadow, I might argue that it's probably a good idea to keep the cattle out of the area of restoration during restoration, but to keep the cattle out of the meadow long term, and then we got to file a new NEPA to fix that, but we didn't seem to have to file the NEPA to restrict them in the first place. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The process is also out of balance, and is my view, and it's kind of offensive to see them take these incomplete, out of balance studies and apply them. And so I think it's important that we do weigh in to emphasize what you said, Supervisor Brennan. Any other comments from the? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like this is just another example of what I will term cafeteria science, or pick list science. Pick the science you like and apply it to your study. The letter from the stewards of the Sequoia is pretty compelling. It seems like in the whole process, there was a lack of concern with including any discussion of recreational activities and those sorts of things. So I think we've got to take every opportunity. It seems like every time I turn around, somebody's pushing on getting people out of our public lands and getting activities out of our public lands. And we got to push back every time, and this is just another one of them. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Any public comment on this? Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion.
So I'd like to make a motion that we send the letter and, but add the word incomplete between unbalanced and scientific in the third paragraph, second line. Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors is concerned that the current science synthesis study is a harbinger of future unbalanced, incomplete scientific studies.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Brennan, a second by Supervisor Royce. Any further comment from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to add, since we're doing that, in the second sentence or the second paragraph, I'd like to add after where it says accurate, factual, and balanced, I'd like to say accurate, factual, complete, and balanced. If that's okay with the motion.
Where's that?
What amend? Second.
Right there.
Oh, okay. That's in the third paragraph. I thought you said second
third paragraph. Whatever.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion like that?
Yes.
Okay. Any further comment? How about the public? Last chance. Mr. Phelan, you're not usually at a loss for words. Okay. With that, the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Move to item 10. Ms. Jamar.
Item 10 is consideration of approving the 2013 Father's Day fly-in vendor application.
Okay.
It's me.
You again.
Yeah. Good morning, Daniel
Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, Deputy County Administrator with the airports today. Once again, we have the Father's Day fly-in coming up. This is the 47th annual Father's Day fly-in. We've been doing this for a long time. They host vendors. If you've been out there, many vendors come, nonprofits, for-profits, some selling something, some not selling anything. I've been out there as a vendor with the Boy Scouts selling drinks and things, and we always have to provide, fill out the forms, provide liability insurance, and make sure that the county is covered in case there's any accident. We, County Council, reviewed the forms that the vendors need to fill out and desired to add some hold harmless language to it. And so that is, in essence, what we're doing. In addition, we're making sure the airport manager's signature is on the application as well. Other than that, the application did not change. So we're requesting approval of this new vendor application.
Okay. Any question or comment from the board? I have one. Whenever I've done these things, and I've done a few of these things, other things, they shall indemnify us. I would like to request that we get some proof or letter of indemnification acceptable to our attorneys when we do this, to make sure that they're not just saying, "Oh yeah, we've done it." That we get some kind of document. That's pretty easy to do, and just by saying they shall provide proof of indemnification acceptable to the County of Tuolumne.
Mr. Richardson, Supervisor Hanvelt and I spoke, and I thought maybe just adding that to the vendor application at the last line would be a good way to make that happen.
And that works for me.
Following after, you must provide proof of liability insurance / indemnification.
Acceptable to the county.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody got any other comments? Public? The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the applications.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Carried unanimously. And I guess we are going to briefly recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Board of Equalization. Mr. Caetano, let's read item 11 on the agenda, please.
you want me to read them all or just one at a time?
I think we ought to do those one at a time. So we'll take 11A and then sift through them.
Okay. Consideration of approving minutes of November 15, 2011.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes.
Okay. Any comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstains? Okay. Carried unanimously. We've approved the minutes. Would you read item 11B?
Consideration of approving stipulation for reduced assessment for application number 14.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ken Catano, Assessor Recorder. These three items are actually the same company that for three separate fiscal years that we're dealing with right now. And just to clarify that, it's really not the Raytheon company that is the assessee in this case. Raytheon company is the agent for the applicant. The applicant itself is Flight Options Incorporated. And just to give you a little background, this is a different animal than what any of us have ever been used to seeing. In 2007, there was legislation that was passed, Senate Bill 87, which allows for the assessment of what are called fractional ownership of a fleet of aircraft. And in this case, a person can buy the right to use aircraft, not a specific aircraft, but an aircraft within this larger fleet. And the legislation allowed them to be assessed to the operator, which was Flight Options. In this case, there's several different owners, and sometime in the near future, you'll also be hearing about a company called NetJets Incorporated, which is the same kind of animal, another fleet owner. The reason this is significant, it affects airports in almost every county in the state, and it's based on the number of landings of these particular aircraft that are owned by Flight Options and these other companies. Tuolumne County doesn't get a lot of them, but we did have some in the years in question here, the 2004, 5, 6, and 6, 7 fiscal years. Some of Flight Options aircraft did land in Tuolumne County, and therefore we believe that they were subject to assessment at that time. I'm going to let Kevin Townsend give you some of the actual details of that, but this has been in the court for a number of years, and the reason why we're just getting around to 2004, 5, and 6 is because there was litigation about this particular law, which, in fact, the last court case has said that although it is legal to assess this fractional ownership interest in the aircraft, it's not acceptable to assess it for years prior to the legislation taking effect. And that's what we have here is 4, 5, 5, 6, and 6, 7 were years before the 2007 enactment of the legislation. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin Townsend, and he can go through the actual appeals themselves individually.
Good morning, Kevin Townsend, Assistant Assessor. The first stipulation, number 14, that you'll be acting on is for assessor's parcel on the unsecured roll 032-320-1186. That's for the 2004-2005 fiscal year. And originally the property was assessed at $26,403, and the stipulation for reduced assessment is for $0, in effect canceling the assessment. So we ask that your board accept the stipulation as presented in in order to comply with the court ruling.
Okay, a motion by Supervisor Royce. Is there a second?
I'll go ahead and second.
Second by Supervisor Gray. Any further questions or comments? I just have one. Did we collect any taxes?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Does this mean we have to pay them back?
Yes, sir.
It does.
Yes.
Okay.
And what is the balance of that, since it's not included, that I could find?
The total amount of the taxes?
Yes. What are we liable for?
Well, it's on $26,403. That'd be about $264 a year, but there would be interest with that too that we would owe.
I believe the total that they paid was $598.06, so they will get that back plus
That's
interest.
over all 3 years?
Okay.
Right, for the 3 years.
Okay. Well, I just thought we ought to at least know what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
the impact.
Right, in Tuolumne County, it's very small because our percentage is tiny compared to some of the larger counties.
Okay, we have a motion on item 11B. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously. Do you think you need to read 11C? Can we do
I do.
11C and D together?
Actually, two separate motions probably,
Okay.
so. Consideration of approving stipulation for reduced assessment for application number 15.
So moved.
Same issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that we're asking you to accept the stipulation, reducing the value from $14,300 to zero.
Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Royce, a second by Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Would you read 11D, please?
Consideration approving stipulation for reduced assessment for the application number 16.
You want to make any comment on that one? Same issue?
Yeah, same issue. We ask that your board accept the stipulation to reduce the assessed value from $17,988 to zero.
So, second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Royce, second by Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously. We will adjourn the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Okay.
Awesome.
Would you read item 12, please?
Consideration of approving a member of the Board of Supervisors as a delegate to the Regional Council of Rural Counties Environmental Services Joint Powers Authority and designating the solid waste manager as alternate delegate to represent the county and as a voting and vote on matters.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Bev Shane, Community Resources Director. Tuolumne County is a member of the Rural Council of Rural Counties, known as RCRC. That organization has an Environmental Services Joint Powers Authority, and your board, under their charter, is allowed to appoint one of its supervisors to serve as a delegate to that JPA. And furthermore, you can designate one or more alternates. This group is involved in solid waste issues. Our solid waste manager typically attends these meetings and at this time has not been delegated to represent the county. I'm here today to ask your board to consider designating our solid waste manager as well as a member of your board to serve as a representative of the county on this Joint Powers Authority. The solid waste manager would be the alternate, and as stated in the memorandum to your board, that alternate has a full authority to represent the county and vote on issues if the actual delegate, who would be one of your supervisors, is not able to do so. The action by your board to delegate one board member and also to designate the solid waste manager as your alternate would remain in effect until further action by your board. So this is not something that you'd have to change each year as far as the solid waste manager once you have delegated that position as your alternate representative.
Okay. Any questions?
For consistency somewhere, and I can't find it right now, that we should appoint the one we already have appointed to RCRC so that we don't have two people going to...
That would certainly be logical for your RCRC supervisor representative to also be a representative to this particular board.
Okay. I so move.
Second.
Okay. Any further comments, questions? Now, our representative would be, since I'm the delegate, would be me, and it would be Belinda, right?
She would be your alternate.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously. Would you read item 13, please?
Consideration of approving correspondence in support of SB 391, the California Home and Jobs Act.
I think that's you, Ms. Shanahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Sheila Shanahan, Housing Program Coordinator. The purpose of this bill is to establish a dedicated permanent source of funding for affordable housing. A similar bill was introduced last year, and your board supported it, as you may recall. Last year, the bill fell short of a supermajority vote by only 2 votes, and it stands a good chance of passing this year. The bill imposes a $75 recording fee on non-sales related real estate transactions, which means it does not apply when a person buys a home. The fee is estimated to generate approximately $500 million per year for housing statewide, and it would be a self-sustaining fund. It wouldn't rely on state or local budgets or increasing bond debt. Even what we have found is that even with lower home prices, mortgages remain out of reach for a lot of people, and with tightening credit, many have found it difficult to purchase or refinance their home. The folks who have lost their home to foreclosure have been pushed into the rental market, creating more demand for rentals, and we're seeing that rents are starting to go up statewide and in our county. With economic downturn, there's been little residential construction in our county, as you know, and that's put pressure on home prices and rents. We are seeing home prices start to go up, and there's very little, very few homes for people to choose from. In Tuolumne County, a minimum wage worker would need to work 88 hours per week to afford a typical 2-bedroom plus utilities in our county. This is a figure county by county based on the fair market rents, which is a survey of rents per county. As you know, many of the jobs in our county are in the retail and tourism sector, and they are the lower paid jobs, and so this 88 hours a week figure applies to a lot of people who live in our county. Building affordable homes is important to business. Rents and mortgages within reach of working families are critical to maintaining our business competitiveness in our community. The bill would help create approximately 29,000 jobs statewide annually, primarily in the hard-hit construction sector, and would spur residential development. Our county also uses state and federal funds to operate our housing programs, and these funds are shrinking and in some cases disappearing. We've participated in the Cal Home program, and we've used these funds to assist home buyers to purchase new energy-efficient homes. We've used this, are using it at Habitat for Humanity's Parrotsberry Village, at Sierra Meadows, and at Mountain Vista. The program is funded with Proposition 1C bond funds, and this last round was the end of these funds, so we won't see that program again. Our other housing programs, our first-time home buyer, our housing rehabilitation, and we have a small rental assistance program. Those are funded primarily with federal home funds. The county also submitted an application last year for home funds to renovate Tuolumne Family Apartments, which is owned by the Michaels organization. And they anticipate applying again this year because they weren't successful. And we have seen major cuts to these federal programs and will continue to see further cuts. We're also working with ATCA to help them establish affordable rental homes in our county. So if we're going to continue these efforts, We need to be proactive and establish a self-sustaining source of dedicated funding for housing. Our county stands to benefit from this bill, and staff recommends that your board approves the resolution in your packet and directs the chair to sign the letters of support. And I'd like to point out that the letters of support include language that your board put in last year when you supported this bill to ensure that the funds are a dedicated source, not to be used for other state budget items, that there's a fair distribution in rural areas, and that the transaction fee is per transaction rather than per document. Be happy to answer any questions.
Supervisor Rutherford.
First of all, can you just give me about 3, 4, 5 examples of a non-sales thing where this $75 would apply?
Somebody is refinancing, it would apply in that case. A lot of times a bank sells their loan to another bank, it would apply in that case. If somebody is quitclaiming to another person, it would apply. But it wouldn't be if somebody is buying a home. It doesn't apply in that case.
Yeah. I voted against this letter last year, and I still disagree with it. And I don't think it's a fee. I think it's a tax, because a fee is some kind of reimbursement for a cost associated with providing a service. And basically, this is extracting $75 to create a program somewhere else. And, you know, it's great to try to promote affordable housing, and I think that all of us agree with promoting affordable housing, but I think there's ways to do that that doesn't have a negative impact on businesses and things like that. And if we want to create jobs and we want to improve the economy, we need to make it easier to do that, not harder. And I really appreciate the work you do, and I don't mean any disrespect at all, because I appreciate what you do. But I just disagree with this bill completely, and also some of the premises and some of the benefits that they claim are possible by doing this.
Anybody else? Public? Ms. Shanahan, oh, I do have a public comment. You're not exactly public, but close.
Excuse me, but again, Ken Catano, Assessor Recorder. Excuse me for not being as well prepared to speak on this as I should be. It caught me off guard that it was on the agenda, and I was on vacation up through yesterday. And when I saw it this morning, I thought I would just make a comment that although I'm very much in line with Supervisor Royce on this. It is noble, all the benefits of a program such as this. However, I also agree that $75 is a large sum to put on a recording of a document, and it also affects county recorders in that we have to make this collection. And the County Recorders Association of California is also opposing this bill, as they opposed similar legislation last year.
Okay, thank you. That's good input. Supervisor Rutherford?
Yeah, I had another thing that I was going to talk to, and I chose not to after Ms. Shanahan talked about what's in the letter. But I have to state the concern as well. I share the view of Supervisor Royce that this is a tax, it's not a fee, number one. Number two, after spending about 5 hours with Chairman Hanvelt in a CSAC class on the history of government financing last week, I'm very uneasy anytime you put fees, taxes, whatever you want into a fund that somewhere downstream, regardless of the language, that the legislature will do a shell and pea game and that money will go to something unintended. So I'm not too much in favor of this bill either.
Any other comment?
I was looking at the list of organizational supporters, California Builders Industry, what was first on the list, Habitat for Humanity. I agree with one part of it, that it is a fee that could be called a tax. And then I'm looking at the other benefit of it. Is the benefit greater than the harm? And it's a tough call here. But looking at our substandard housings that we have here in Tuolumne County, that people don't want to live in, but it's their only choice. And how do we change that? How do we make that different? And it's called money. And if there's some way of creating a resource, I would be in favor of creating that resource. And totally understanding what you said, Mr. Supervisor Rotifer, of the state always trying to steal funds from well-intended other sources. So, I'm in conflict with myself here, but I do want to have something here that we can work with to do the good that I think a program like this would do if handled correctly. I think, since Habitat for Humanity, if they could get a hold of some of these funds, could go a long way in completing the project there in Columbia. So I'm going to support it with reservations, I believe, is where I'm at.
Okay. Any other comment? I'd like to make a couple. First of all, when this came up last year, I really think that the bill is unacceptable without the stipulations that we ask for in the letters. I'm not sure those stipulations shouldn't be in the resolution as well. But at any rate, I believe that the whole concept is unacceptable without those three things. And so affordable housing is absolutely essential to our existence as a community. We need affordable housing so that we're providing in all walks of life. I am always worried about exactly what Supervisor Rotifer said, and that's what we put in there that would be designated for this. Always worried that the state, and as he commented in the class that we attended last week, it was clear that is a routine operational tactic of state finance. When they're short of money, they go rob some fund and they promise to pay it back, or maybe they don't, but promise to pay it back, but they rob other funds. So I guess if in fact those three stipulations aren't put into the measure, then we don't support the measure, and that needs to be clear. It is a tax, but I think you referred to that they needed a supermajority to pass it, and if they get a supermajority, it will in effect be a tax, and accept it as that. I share Supervisor Gray's concerns, and I'll probably vote for this with the same concerns. But that's the way I felt last year when we did this. It is just a serious thing, and I'm worried that in practice it will not generate affordable housing. It will give it lip service, and they'll absorb the money in studies or something. I worry about that. But anyway, so much for that. Okay, Supervisor Rotifer, one comment?
I want to make clear that I support affordable housing, and I support the programs that you deal with, Ms. Shanahan. But I think it's very important. I agree wholeheartedly with Chairman Hanfeld. I think it's very important that those three items be in the resolution. So whether I vote for or against it, I hope if it passes, that it passes contingent on those three things being in the resolution.
Okay.
And I would agree with what my fellow supervisors have said, and just echo the sentiment that I think these solutions are best found locally. And I don't know what that answer is, but continuing to I see this as a tax, quite honestly, and continuing to tax ourselves and send it to the state. I don't have faith that that's the answer, because we do need affordable housing. There's no doubt that we need to help every group, as listed in this resolution. It's just, how can we best do that? And I don't know that this gets to that end.
Okay. Any further comments? Any public comments on this? Okay. Well, the chair will entertain a motion. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we send this letter of support with the stipulations as noted in the letter, emphasizing the funding be set aside.
And you're approving the resolution with those stipulations
Yes.
added? Okay. So the motion by Supervisor Gray is to approve the letters and send them and approve the resolution with the stipulations to make the bill acceptable added. Okay, is there a second to that motion? I'll second it for the purpose of putting it on the record. Okay. Any further discussion?
If you want to make housing affordable, cut fees. Geiger fees, $6,000. Save you $6,000 on every house built in Tuolumne County.
Okay. Last comment. Any public comment? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
No.
Motion fails. 2 yes, 3 no. Okay. We'll go to item 14. One last question. If we're not going to send those letters, are we going to send letters in opposition?
It's not on the agenda.
I know.
I'm not prepared
It's a rhetorical comment.
I'm not prepared to do that.
Okay. Item 14, please. Read it.
Consideration of accepting the results of the mobile home rent control resident survey.
Ms. Shanahan, I think that's you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Sheila Shanahan, Housing Program Coordinator. The county mobile home rent control ordinance requires us to survey the residents in mobile home spaces every 5 years. The purpose is to help us check the information provided by park owners every year. Each spring, we collect data from the park owners on each individual space and whether or not it's under rent control. And we use this information to calculate how many spaces are under rent control. So last November, we sent a survey to all 1,869 residents in mobile home spaces with a self-addressed stamped envelope asking them to return the survey to us. The purpose was primarily to ask them whether or not they're under rent control, but the survey also asked them questions about their space and lease so that we could ascertain whether or not they were aware of rent control and aware of the exemptions to our rent control ordinance. The most notable are that any resident who's under a long-term lease, which is a lease in excess of 12 months, is exempt from rent control statewide, including in our county. And also under our ordinance, any space built after January of 1990 is exempt. And we have other exemptions, but these are the two that primarily apply to residents in our community. Many residents live in these exempt spaces, but quite a few respondents said that they were under rent control, even if they also said that they were under a long-term lease. So there's some confusion among residents, and I think in large part it's because in many parks the park owner gives the same increase, whether you're under a long-term lease or not. And so a lot of people, they just assume, oh yeah, I got the same increase as everyone else. I got the rent control increase. So in terms of the survey results, we had 501 responses of the 1,869 surveys, so a 27% response rate. And we adjusted the answers for those incorrect responses where someone said they were under a long-term lease or in a space that was built after 1990 and said that they were also under rent control. We adjusted for that, and the result is that 43% stated that they're under rent control. The data collected last spring from the park owners also indicates that 43% of the spaces are under rent control. So that's good news. That means that everyone kind of agrees what the how many people are under rent control. There are some inconsistencies. There's a chart at the end of the staff report that shows per park. In some parks, the results do vary, but overall, the information is consistent. And where those inconsistencies occur, the county does have a complaint system in place for mobile home parks, and so we can look at those problems, if there are any, on a case-by-case basis. Staff is recommending that your board accept the results of the 2012 Mobile Home Resident Survey. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Shanahan?
Just one. Based on this outcome, is it similar to what it was the last time we ran this?
Daniel Richardson did the report, and I don't have the results.
Okay. All right. I'll find out. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Just 27% responded. Is that consistent? I mean, is it typically? I mean, that's a low, relatively, yes. And that's.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't respond to something that's mailed to their home.
Yeah.
Okay. Chair would entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. A motion by Supervisor Roder, second by Supervisor Royce. Any further questions, public comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We have an 11 o'clock appointment, which I am late for.
Mr. Chair, could I suggest taking about a 3-minute break so we can set up the computer for that 11 o'clock?
Okay, we'll take 5. We'll declare it at 11 o'clock in Tuolumne County and ask the clerk to read item the 11 o'clock appointment.
It's a presentation on Amador-Tuolumne Community Action Agency Joint Powers Agreement.
Ms. Shelley Hance from ADCA, Executive Director, right?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Can you hear me okay? Thank you for inviting us to present to you today. I have with me Craig Case, our Energy Programs Director, and Beetle Barber, our Housing Programs Manager, our Director, and Lee Kimball from our food bank was not able to attend, but she wants me to ask you to all let me know if you would like a tour of the food bank for those of you who have not had a tour. And Marsha Williams is not here, who is our Head Start Director in charge of our early childhood services. So let's keep going through our presentation. So we were formed by this body here, this board, in 1981, and as a joint powers agency. And our agency started, there was a gentleman named Sean Crowder over in Amador County, and he was interested in forming a community action agency. And you had to have a population base of 50,000 to do that. And we did not have that number in any one of our rural foothill counties. So Amador County was very interested in addressing poverty and said, go forth and find out if our other rural counties near us are interested. He then went to Calaveras County, and they were not sure at the time that they were interested. He went to Mariposa, and they felt that they were much more connected road-wise, and that nice straight road down to Merced, and so they said no. He went up to Alpine, and Alpine County said they were just really too small to address another program and funding opportunity. And he came here to Tuolumne County, and Tuolumne County supervisors were were in a situation where they were having a lot of community groups, volunteer groups, all coming to the board asking for support. Support with space when you had your new building next door, with the assistance with finances, with assisting with how to manage finances, insurance, etc. So a lot of small community groups asking the board for assistance, and it was getting overwhelming. And so the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors says, yes, this sounds perfect for us. We are very interested in addressing poverty, and we would see this organization as moving forward as an umbrella agency. And those were the words used, the umbrella agency. And so you will see during the presentation that that is in fact what ATCA has become for our communities. Now, at a later time, Calaveras County came back and asked, once programs were started, if they could participate. And there were no additional funds at all, and programs were started in both counties, some real initiatives that were very specific to each county, and therefore the board of ATCA said, no, we're not able to accommodate including Calaveras. And subsequently in 1990, Calaveras and Mariposa went together to form their own community action agency. So that is the first question that I am always asked when I make these presentations. So I decided I'd just start with that one. So we were formed as a joint powers agreement between these two counties with the goal of improving the lives of the residents of these counties. And we moved forward then with a service center in both the Sonora and in Jackson. So the today's mission is that has been adopted by our board is to help individuals in Amador and Tuolumne counties towards self-sufficiency, to support local residents in becoming involved and contributing members of our community, to promote family and other supportive environments so that children, youth, and elders can achieve their maximum potential. That was our mission statement for many years, and at some point, some years more recent, the board added to form partnerships and coalitions within the community to meet these needs, because when we do it with our partners, our other nonprofits, our general community and volunteers, it's always better. And we have certainly found that. As a community action agency, there are about 1,000 community action agencies throughout the United States. Each one is unique and different because it is developed to meet local needs based on local assessments of what those needs are. And so even the programs we have in each Amador and Tuolumne counties are not the same, as I'd mentioned from the very beginning of our agency. I've been with the agency since 1982. I was one of the first staff when we first started. So it's been interesting to see it grow as we've evolved and our needs and our communities have evolved. In order to be a community action agency, you must have what is called a tripartite board, a three-part board. And that board is made up of the public sector, which are our Board of Supervisors or City Council, our private sector, which could be banks, private industry, churches, and the low-income. Representation is the last component of that. And so the federal law to be a community action agency indicates that at least 1/3 of your members must be low-income representatives. And so it brings for wonderfully diverse governance, and a lot of good opinions come that are very diverse, and good decision making that is brought from these three sectors. So we currently are fortunate to have in Tuolumne two board members, Supervisor Rutherford and Supervisor Hanvelt, and one of the seats from the very beginning of the agency was given to the city of Sonora. And so we have Connie Williams from the city of Sonora. Over in Amador, they have 5 incorporated cities and didn't know really how to deal with their third seat. So they had their clerk auditor have that seat and a permanent alternate. So the county kept all 3 seats and has really done that ever since. So just a little difference there. We are, as a joint powers agency formed by this board, we are under the Brown Act. Our board meets 6 times a year. We have the conflict of interest for our board. Do an independent audit that is submitted to the State Controller's Office. We are pleased to have quite a few years under our belt without a single audit finding. And we're very proud of that. In the 1990s, it was recognized that in order to bring resources into Tuolumne County to meet our mission, that it would be very helpful to have a private nonprofit, California Corporation, and the board formed that, and it is called Amador Tuolumne Community Resources, and it has its own board that is linked and appointed by our board of directors. And so some funds such as United Way and other funds go through that board, and the services are provided by ATCA. So today is a very different scenario from 1981. Today we have about $7.5 million of federal, state, and private funds. The largest one is a federal Head Start grant. We have about 21 separate funding sources, about 60 different grants and contracts. Some of them are very small. Some of them might include a small grant or donation from Front Porch or from the Seroptimist that go into donation funds. But these are our mostly federal and state sources. We have contracts with PG&E, and we have had a large 10-year commitments from groups such as the Cal Endowment, California Endowment, and a number of other large private foundations. We have about 150 regular staff members with substitutes and more, especially during the time when we had the ARA funding. We were up to almost about 180 employees. And we are fortunate in our community to have over 1,000 volunteers that assist. Our largest program there would be through our food bank. And we do put a value to the donations that come in through the volunteers and through donated goods and items, and that equals about $1.2 million each year. We have a very, very generous community with people with their time and their donations. Our newest accomplishment is right here. We are very proud here in Tuolumne County, out on the road, on Tuolumne Road. The Bluebell Family Center, or we'll call it the ATCA Family Center, is a church that our board helped us to approve moving forward with a purchase and rehabilitation. It houses Head Start, early Head Start. These are little babies that come with their parents every day. Some of them stay, and they receive training through our family learning program, getting their GEDs and helping with job readiness skills. And also there is the Tuolumne County Schools Office has a CalSafe program for younger parents, younger moms that are also there to learn while their children are in our Head Start program. So, our food bank. We have over 2,000 households receive emergency food from our food bank. Over 800 receive fresh produce twice monthly. We have a specific program for seniors, serving over 300 seniors and disabled adults. And we have a children's program with kid-friendly foods, as Lee would say. And we continue to have in our economy today helping more people than we've ever seen before with our holiday baskets at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I will say that so many of the people that are coming to us for assistance are those that have probably written a check, maybe a small check, in the past They've probably been there, maybe they still are, down on the other side of that side where they once were able to give larger donations and are today never imagined that they themselves would be needing to have the kind of assistance that ATCA offers. And there's your 1,000 local volunteers. Housing. Well, I'm going to give the mic over to Beetle.
It's always overwhelming to see all the things that ATCA does, and to have a small part of it is just an enormous honor for me. I've worked at the agency since January of 2000. When I got the job, I thought, oh no, not emergency shelter. I don't know how I feel about helping people who are, probably just made bad decisions and, could have done a lot better in life if they just tried harder. And I can tell you that the last years that I've worked at ATCA have really opened my eyes to who is out there and who is in need. It is an amazing thing that this agency remains as strong and as committed to its mission when there has been so much rethinking about those, handout versus hand up. But I'm here to tell you, fresh from doing the homeless survey at the end of January, that the people out there who are in our emergency shelter are truly in need, and they're in emergency need. And I'm just really glad that we still have that program. In 2012, we served 140 people in the emergency or the transitional. Emergency shelter stay is only for about 35 days. Transitional, you can stay for up to a year. It's only for families with children. And generally speaking, we have families with young children, because families with young children tend to be in economic peril these days. And the young children that we have, am I blocking the view? I'm sorry. The young children that we have are nourished by our program. We're very happy with our outcomes at the transitional shelter. In 2012, every family moved from transitional into permanent housing, securely housed at the end of their stay. 91 of the families in general, in both the emergency and the transitional, found housing. We do our figure counting the way that the state and HUD tells us to, so some of those may not have moved into the kind of secure housing that we would hope. They sometimes meet up with the shelter and they move into housing that turns out not to be so permanent, but nevertheless, we get to count that as a success even if we see them again. Sometimes we do at the emergency shelter. 80 homeowners received help resolving or preventing foreclosures. This is a program that basically swept us over in 2008. We had started investigating the idea of foreclosure intervention in 2007, and in 2008 it just took us over. And the best way for me to describe this program is we have a housing counselor in Sonora and one in Jackson, and for the first 2 years, 2008, 9, and 10, they basically listened to homeowners crying. That's basically what they got day after day on the telephone. Sometimes people would leave messages that were indecipherable because they were sobbing. We're kind of more knowledgeable about this foreclosure process, and perhaps we've gotten a little bit jaded by it, but all you have to do is turn to the back of the paper. People are still being foreclosed on. Our housing counselor in Sonora told us today that she receives 7 or 8 calls, new calls, every week for people who are going into foreclosure. So this is been a life-saving program. It's been a difficult program because there wasn't a lot of cooperation at the beginning, and we do things like fax loan documents of 45 pages in length to a bank that would immediately lose it, and we'd have to go back and refax it. There was a sort of a stubbornness there, but all of that has gotten a lot better, and there's not as much emotion behind this now. Homeowners are a lot more resolved to move forward, and we're there to help them move forward. Whether they lose that house or not, we are there until they are back in secure housing again. As a part of our housing services that we put together, we began to realize that a basic program, a curriculum on managing money was a very important thing for people in our emergency shelter, certainly for families in our transitional shelter, and even for families that were going through foreclosure. So that got to be a part of our program also in 2008, and it's a very strong part of the program. We have those classes. People enjoy those classes. You walk by the door, they're laughing. We invented a game for them to play called, what's it called? I think it's called Your Life. And sometimes called Beetlebugs Mania. And it really does work. It keeps people, they're focused on it. It comes at the end of the class, and it's lighthearted. And we give them a This Is Your Life card and try to help them make the decisions that would be financially sound. Also, we've just started doing, back in November, the first-time home buyer program. Our housing counselors had to be certified to do this, and when they went to get their training, other people, other agencies that do first-time home buyers said, you've been doing foreclosure intervention all this time, step into the light. Now you can do first-time home buyer. You can bring them the tools they need to know about a loan document before they get involved, before they start signing the papers. And it is also a very good class, and people are really enjoying it. And finally, we do a rental assistance program. We have quite a bit of money. From 2009 to present, we brought almost $1 million in rental assistance into Tuolumne County. And because of what we were going through with the economy and what had happened with the housing market, ATCA, we brought in partners so that we could represent all groups in need. Area 12 Agency on Aging, Disability Resource Agency for Independent Living, Public Health brought in young families. ATCA made it our plan and our criteria to serve families who had lost jobs because of what had happened in the building industry. And we had a lot of successes with that. We helped a lot of families through a real pinch time, and they are solvent today, moving more so into solvency now that our building industry is starting to come around. But, as many hours as we spent here toe-to-toe with the building industry discussing various things, it just seemed like the right thing to do, and I think it was well received. Any questions about housing?
Thank you, Beetle. Okay, Craig.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Craig Case, and I'm the director of the Energy and Conservation Department. Is this on? At any rate, these are our stats for 2012 in Tuolumne County alone. We assisted 1,203 households with their utility payments, whether that be electric or propane. And we also physically went out, audited, and weatherized 113 households in Tuolumne County in an effort to accomplish the mission of ACCA, which is to help these people become self-sufficient. People come in, they apply for payment assistance, and we do everything that we can to persuade them to allow us to send one of our energy auditors out to their home to audit the home for use and waste. And then we have crews that go in and can do a wide variety of measures to reduce the amount of energy it takes them to operate their home. So that's a real important step that we have. But about 75% of our budget goes towards helping people with assisting them with their payments. But about 75% of the effort and the payroll, et cetera, goes to the weatherization side, where we actually have a staff of 12 people that have shops and trucks and tools and the whole thing to go out and improve these people's homes. And the picture there is of Jerry Marquez, our supervisor on the Jackson side. Any questions about energy? Well, thank you.
I would just add that we target seniors and disabled with these programs, and most of the houses we do are homes of seniors. And the newer thing that we're doing is really measuring the energy savings. So when I come back again, I'll make a slide for that and show you the amount of energy how the bills have reduced. Okay, thank you, Craig. All right, our early childhood services is our large Head Start program, and with state preschool, 88 children in Tuolumne County are enrolled in what's called early child or early Head Start. That's the 0 to 2, basically, and 237 children are enrolled in Head Start, which is 3 to 5-year-olds. And the early Head Start is newer for us. It's about 3 years old, and Head Start we've had since 1986. We have 6 sites in Tuolumne County, some on schools, and as I mentioned, our new Bluebell site. And we have 129 children that are enrolled in these same sites with state preschool. 24% of our children that we're able to have a certain number in Head Start that are special needs children that need early intervention. We max that out. We try to serve as many children as we can that are special needs children. And we are very proud that Soulsbyville Head Start is the only, this is a national association for the education of the young child, and it's a certification, accreditation, and we are the only accredited child care center in the county. We're very proud of that. I think we might be one of the only in the whole region. So,
Ms. Hans, can
yes.
we back up that slide?
Yes.
We're serving that many. How many are we not serving that could?
The waiting list.
Yeah, that's it, the waiting list.
You know, I don't know that, but I can find that out for you. I know that it's a continual kind of rolling thing with Head Start where we sometimes we have openings and we have to really put the word out, and then the next thing you know, we've got 5 people for that one slot.
It would be an interesting comparison to see who we're serving versus what, if you will, the demand would be.
I can get that for you.
Being served.
And since Supervisor Hanville already interrupted you, do we track at all, maybe you'll get to it so you can tell me to wait if that's appropriate, but do we track post-Head Start success rate of Head Start enrollees, if you will?
We have actually just looked at starting that at Supervisor Hanvelt's request. We are looking in all of our programs. We talked about it this morning at staff meeting to come up with ways in which we can look not only in Head Start but in our transitional housing, a sample of where our students are. We just finished a parent satisfaction survey, and there was a wonderful comment that I will share with you of a child that was in Head Start that is now a junior in high school who is reading at the college level, and his mother really believes that success was through Head Start. But we are actually doing that start doing that on a very solid basis. It's hard with people that move, and it takes also some real staff effort, but I know we need to do it. They've done it nationally, but we need to do it right here in Tuolumne County.
Thank you.
So our youth programs, we have a Friday Night Live program, a mentoring program, and we're the fiscal agents for the YES Partnership collaboration. And we have over 700 teens that participate in Friday Night Live activities, both on their school campus through something called Challenge Days. That really is an anti-bullying curriculum that the schools participate with us in putting on. We then are also in 4 elementary schools, as well as having the group of high schoolers from both our local high school here. We also have a volunteer mentoring program. We train adult mentors and have youth from basically, I think, 8 years old up that are mentored. We have a number of mentees, if you will, that are actually graduating out of the program on to college, and they have offered to give back and actually mentor themselves. And so that's a wonderful thing when they can see how they can give back. And certainly we talked about that this morning as well, is how do we track that? How do we track those young people that may have come to us in 3rd grade and where they are and what the difference that made to them? While I'm on this, I wanted you to know of 2 events. One with the YES Partnership. In collaboration with the Sheriff's Department, we're doing the Tuolumne County Take Back Days. This is to take back the drugs on Friday and Saturday, April 26th and 27th from 10 to 2 at the Junction. This is the 6th Take Back the Drugs Day, and we have to date 1,700 pounds have been collected, and we are hoping and really believing we'll have 2,000, and then we can say we have taken back a ton of drugs in this county. So, and this is really important with the high number of seniors that we have, because they're in the homes, they're accessible to teens. It's a very bad thing to have these, aside from the environment, to have these drugs sitting around in our seniors' homes or in all of the homes, and people don't know how to get rid of them. So here's the opportunity. I'm probably going over a little bit, but I also wanted you to know that Friday Night Live, we're doing something called an annual World Cafe. This is where the adults and the teens get together and they talk about issues that are important to them. And so this is all youth-led, and this will be happening on April 17th at 6 p.m. at the Ambulance Community Room. And what the topic is that the teens have come up with is called, "What does it mean to live above the influence?" And so it's a lot of fun to go to that. Okay, Craig. Our other things that we're doing are Atka Family Center. We talked about Bluebell already, so I think I could just skip from that. 58 families participate in our family literacy program, where we're teaching job skills, readiness, and GED. Okay. On the information side, we also host the InfoNet website, which is a database of health and human services, and that is for all 3 counties, and we get 14,000 website visitors a year. This was all set up to be 211 ready if, in fact, any of the counties wanted to go in that direction with the lexicon there. And we also have 13 sites in Tuolumne County where are public computing sites where people can go, including our libraries, to access computers. ATCA is the sponsor of Central Sierra Connect broadband, bringing broadband in, helping our providers in bringing broadband to Tuolumne County, as well as trying to bridge the digital divide in training and education. We have trained over 300 people in our lab, at mostly seniors, in the last year. And the program, unfortunately, it is ending in June, and we are just sad to see that. We, along with Merced and the Bay Area, are the highest in Northern California in the number of people that we have trained with these funds that we received. So we're very proud of that. Go ahead. I think I'm going over time quite a bit, so I will just let you know that we've completed a strategic plan that really is about continuing these services in a very strong organizational way with our community. And I'll end with that unless you have any questions of me.
Questions from the board?
Just one. Is there any plan in your future to provide your smart money classes for our state legislatures or our Congress?
That would
obviously,
be fun.
Obviously, that's a rhetorical question. What I do want to do is encourage any of my fellow supervisors who have not taken Lee Kimball up on her offer for a tour to please get down there. It is an extremely interesting, informative tour. She's got a great operation going down there, and since she's not here to speak for herself, I will. Thanks.
Any other? Supervisor Gray.
Yes. First, obviously, thank you for all you do, and you've been with it forever. So I don't know what's going to happen when you decide to work another 20 years or so.
We're chaining her to her desk.
Funding, as I recall, being on the board for a while, is always an issue. What's future funding look like for
Well, you know, we're a pretty ambitious group. And yes, we did take advantage as fully as you could imagine. There's a little more white hair all the way around because we took advantage of the stimulus opportunity here. If it was going to happen, we were going to have it happen in Tuolumne County. And that means that we did have some hiring. When we did that, we made sure those folks knew that it may not last more than 2 or 3 years. So I would say we're kind of in a flattening place. But it's being strong, whether funding goes up or down, staying strong, and letting the people know in our community what we do. We were just up at the Groveland Health Fair. We go up there with full packets of everything about what we do, and we're out in the community everywhere we can be. So we're up for doing speaking engagements and at activities everywhere we can be. People need to know how to volunteer, how to be involved, and what we have that we can help when you never thought you'd need it.
Okay, any other questions? Yes,
Yeah, I just want to echo the compliments of the fellow board members up here because you guys do a fantastic job and really appreciate you really look outside the box to find those partnerships. And I think the Bluebell facility is a perfect example of that. And so kudos and just keep up all the hard work.
Thank you. I will say when we go to state meetings, just like the Yes Partnership, the collaboration that happens in this county is not necessarily what you find in other places, rural or urban, and we are a community that works together. And we have at ATCA, we have a staff that is just very passionate and dedicated, but I find that everywhere I go here. So thank you for your leadership as well.
Okay, any other comments? A couple of quick questions, Ms. Hans. One of them, I guess I missed that we're losing the funding on your computer training. I got to tell you, that is a very important program. This is for the public, we all know that. We're keeping people connected in the internet age and teaching them things. We desperately need to find ways to continue that program. That program is really successful, and with seniors and other people who haven't had the chance. I liked your term, crossing the digital divide. It's really important that we keep them connected that way and keep them vital. The other one that I'd like you to detail with, I'm always on your case to be more effective, I know, but I just believe that ATCA does so many good things, and we have limited resources, and I always worry about those going away. But you mentioned that we do some things in Calaveras County. Would you explain that so everybody understands? Because we're not the Amador Calaveras Tuolumne Community Action Agency. We are the Amador Tuolumne Community Action Agency.
Well, what I would say is in all circumstances, when we're going into Calaveras, we're looking at Amador and Tuolumne first. So, for instance, when we do weatherization and energy assistance in Calaveras. It was our very first program, and it was necessary to really try to figure out the configuration of an efficient configuration for the funds to include Calaveras with crews. So we have a crew in Amador, a crew in Tuolumne, and the service region made sense. It made sense for our funder. It made sense for us. If we were to lose Calaveras, the efficiency there of how we do business across those borders would not work as well. We've done a lot of housing that way. When we need to, we've pulled 16 counties together in a collaboration with an application. And so when we look oftentimes to bring resources to Tuolumne County or to Amador County, we need to do it regionally. Our Central Sierra Connect broadband is 5 counties. So that happens for us in order to get and be competitive and bring resources into Tuolumne. I will tell you a story, and I know I don't have very much time. I'm already over. But ATCA was the first entity in the early 90s to help preserve affordable housing when there were some of these HUD projects were switching over, and the federal government didn't quite know how to do it. And there was the Jamestown project with Congressman Lehman, where we had a lot of seniors, and they were going to lose their housing. And the federal government came up with a way to offer that to building owners. And there was a project in Amador that was going into bankruptcy, the Meadows apartment. And so we came in and helped and restructured that. We were the very first ones to do it in the state. So they said, you guys were here, you made up the rules, can you help us administer this in 25 states? And we did that for 5 years. It was a group out of L.A. It was Harvard Law School and ATCA. And so, and we actually made funds to do services and build our housing department. So if we can do it and it works and we've got the expertise and it brings help to our folks, that's what we're about.
Okay.
So just a little story there.
That's a good story. That's a great story. That's a terrific
Proud of
story.
that one.
One last question. You use over 1,000 volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether you realize or not, the public is listening and watching. So if they wanted to volunteer, where would they go and volunteer?
Most of our volunteers are at the food bank, but if you're not interested in volunteering at the food bank, you can just call our office, the 533-1397, and we will link you up with something that is of interest to you.
533-1397.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming here and spending some time with us. You're an important organization, and you do a lot of good things.
Just a personal comment, too. It's been a joy. I haven't been here since '81, but most of those years, and it's been a pleasure to watch this organization just mature and expand its services to our community, and it really has really heightened the quality of life here in Tuolumne County in so many ways. And there's so many other organizations that, as Shelley said, we work together, in this county. ATCA many times has become kind of the rally point for some of those services. And another one, I just want to personally recognize Shelley. She is an absolute joy to work with. She pays attention to the business, but if there's a way to work together and make things happen, her heart is there and she makes it happen. So compliments to Shelley personally.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you.
Well, thank you.
And for those who couldn't be here, thank them too, please.
And I'd like to thank all of you for your leadership again, because you formed this. You're always supportive. Craig and his whole office staff are always supportive, and they've come to us. We work together very well, and I just can't say enough for that staff as well. Thanks, Craig.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to item 15 on our agenda, please, and ask the clerk to read that item.
Second reading of an ordinance adding a new chapter 16.28 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code.
Mr. Caetano, your entry was timely.
I was paying attention. Ken Caetano, Assessor Recorder. We brought this before you for the first reading, and just as a reminder, there are some provisions in the Revenue and Taxation Code which prevent assessors from making separate valuations of parcels that are divided into more than 4 lots, and also we're prohibited from doing separate valuations of parcels covered by subdivision maps that are filed after January 1st for the current fiscal year. So what happened in 2009 with SB 822 was the enactment of the provision that by county ordinance we could actually do those separate assessments of more than 4 lots and subdivision into their prospective lots after January 1st. The advantage to this has been that it's simpler for the property owners to have separate valuations on the individual lots that are actually on the market. And there have been times when this has been awkward in that there weren't separate lots on the tax roll getting assessments. So this, we believe, would make improved customer service, would help title companies, developers, subsequent owners, and would benefit in more accurate and less confusing tax bills for the public.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Caetano? Okay, this is the second reading, so we're looking at adopting the proposed ordinance at this point in time. Okay, so is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Did you get that that motion?
Adopt.
Moving on staff recommendation to adopt. Okay, so motion is by Supervisor Royce, second by Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We got time. We've got time for item 16. Another second reading.
Second reading of an ordinance to amend Title II of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code.
Ms. Shane.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Bev Shane, Community Resources Director. On February 5th this year, your board considered the recommendations of the Planning Commissions and Committees Task Force regarding the Design Review Committees and Area Planning Commissions, and also Historic Preservation Review Commission. At that time, you directed staff to prepare an ordinance that would disband the area commissions and the the Design Review Committees, and also make some minor changes to the procedures of the Historic Preservation Review Commission. You reviewed this ordinance at your last meeting on March 19th, and at that point you waived the first reading, and today and scheduled adoption of this ordinance for today. The findings for adoption are found on page 6 of your agenda package, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might.
Are there any
if you
questions?
have any more about this issue?
Okay, any more questions at this point?
Just a comment. I'm going to vote against this from the reasons I stated before, but I also want to state that I will do my best to make it work.
Thank you.
And I just want to clarify that what is before us today is an implementation of a decision already made by the board.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Then public comment? Seeing none, then the chair would entertain a motion.
I'll move to, adopt.
I'll second.
You got to include the findings, I think, in that, based on those findings, A, B, C, and D. Okay.
A through D.
Okay, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion by Supervisor Royce, second by Supervisor Rotifer to proceed with adoption in accordance with the findings A through D. Last question, comments? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Carries 4-1. Okay. Being that we're short of time for reports, I think we'll just recess until our 1:30 appointment. And that's what we'll do. Recess to April 2nd. We'll reconvene the Board of Supervisors and ask the clerk to read the 1:30 appointment.
Consideration of determining that the county's summary abatement actions on 24510 State Highway 108 Miwok Village satisfied the conditions listed in the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 1.10.230A.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Doug Oliver, Chief Building Official. Today I'm also the Task Force Incident Commander for the Tuolumne County Code Enforcement Task Force. What we bring before your board today is a summary abatement hearing asking that you make determination that the summary abatement work performed by the county met the requirements as an imminent hazard to health and safety, and that we have a final abatement order prepared and signed with a demand for payment to the owner to pay for that cleanup. Since I have no one else here that is going to participate in the hearing, I kind of like to make it quick, but I understand that some description of summary abatement process should be made. This is the first time the county has done a summary abatement in many years, and the first time under this new code compliance ordinance. And in general, summary abatement process is only reserved for very egregious health and safety violations or very attractive public nuisances, and it is only approved with concurrence from the department head of the enforcement agency and the code compliance officer, which is county council. The general process is if an enforcing agency finds that a situation that they feel an imminent threat to health and safety, that they report that information and seek concurrence for an abatement process to happen prior to any other notification that is in our code compliance ordinance. So instead of the normal process of giving an opportunity to correct and follow through the normal notification and penalty processes, the work done to abate the violation is immediately taken care of. That's handled by a posting of that notice to say, we have determined that this is an imminent threat. We're going to take care of this nuisance. And then a hearing will be held after the fact to justify that what we did was consistent with our ordinance in relation to that imminent threat. Hearings are conducted very similar to the appeal hearings, but in this case, if your board finds that there was justification for our actions, rather than a final abatement order ordering them to clean it up, it would be a final abatement order stating that they owe us so much money for the county to abate the nuisance. Is there any questions before I proceed? Okay. This was an abatement, and to clarify this abatement so that there's no confusion, this abatement happened on two properties concurrently. This property, 24510 State Highway 108, and the adjacent property, I won't mention for the record because at the end of that abatement process, the bank that was foreclosing on the property contacted county council and waived their right to administrative hearing, paid the abatement costs that the county incurred, and that case was closed. This is the other side of that, and all of the billing and was separated for the entire project and tracked accordingly so that there wasn't any confusion on who paid what. Everything was broken out effectively. So for this process, you may see some pictures where there's another house or something else in the pictures because this kind of blended together, and we had to draw a property line and then establish which case and which cleanup went where. For this property, May 31st, 2011, there was an inspection performed by the solid waste compliance officer. There was a complaint about garbage accumulating in the garage of this fourplex in view of the public. There had been previous complaints. There was a process in place already to notify the owner with no response. And on this particular stop, the garbage was such that it had spilled out of the garage. It had filled the garage, was spilling onto the driveway in plain view of the highway. There was evidence of rodent infestation and very foul odors coming from this area. The solid waste compliance officer contacted me as the task force commander for the Tuolumne County Enforcement Task Force. And after seeing the pictures, we agreed that this should be brought to Bev Shane as the Community Resources Agency Director to seek concurrence for the summary abatement. Concurrence was obtained from both council and Ms. Shane, and as the primary respondent, solid waste, they organized the cleanup. We worked together, and a contractor hauled off all the waste, cleaned the site up, and that action was concluded. At that point, we were waiting for information to be brought back to us on the billing from the contractor, time spent, and in addition, we were aware that the the ordinance was being changed, which would streamline our process for hearings and so forth. So we held on to the data until we could bring a hearing in the appropriate fashion under the new ordinance. During that time, we received another complaint of substandard housing conditions relative to the 4 apartment units that were above the original garbage site. Once again, Solid Waste and I went out to the site. In this case, they had no running water, no electricity, and any of the tenants that we were able to talk to commented that there was no heating in the building, visible broken windows, and there was some garbage collecting on the site again. At this point, it hadn't risen to the level of imminent threat, but it was substandard housing conditions, so we started the initial process of a notice and order and a notice to vacate to remove them from the property. That being said, there is a 15-day appeal period, and the vacate order was set for 10 days. We have to let that time run out normally under the code compliance provisions. But in this case, on the 10th day, when we went back out to see if they had vacated per the order, we found that the condition had severely worsened. Many of the tenants had vacated, but the building was unsecured, and squatters had moved in with RVs, hauled a lot of the possessions from inside the empty units to the street and set up a yard sale. They painted yard sale on the concrete facing the road. We had many complaints from the community. And when we went out there, it was such a bad situation that once again we contacted the agency director and council to seek another summary abatement, and there was concurrence, and we went forward again. In this case, I will say on the second abatement, I have to say that the community did respond quite well. When we went out to do the cleanup, a community group got together to help abate the nuisance. They were all given safety training and assigned a safety officer and worked concurrently with the contractor and our staff to help remove the garbage and the hazardous conditions from the premises. The abatement was fixed on removing the imminent threat to the public and the visible attractive nuisance and boarding up the building to keep people from breaking back in. At that point, the standard process was collecting the appropriate invoice data and time spent by county employees in order to bring us to your board for a final determination. Is there any questions?
When did you finish this work?
I'm sorry?
When was this work finished?
Let's see, May 24th, 2012.
Soon to be a year.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
The obvious follow-up question, why? Why is it a year?
With the volume of code compliance activity and the resolution by your board in June of 2008, was that anything that was not an imminent threat be processed as soon as we could get to it, but if it was imminent, we act on it. Since this was an imminent threat, we acted on it, but having no one come forward to claim responsibility or no appeal, if you will, and no further imminent threat, we had to put this in the queue with the other items that weren't of an imminent nature in order to process effectively.
Okay, so we've waited a year to try and collect then, is that?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
What's the status of the property today? Or do you know?
The structure is still boarded up. There is no other activity there aside from one of the tenants seeking authorization to enter the building for 1 day from 8 to 5 to remove the belongings that remained, and that was controlled through the sheriff's office.
Okay. It's probably not. I don't want to know who it is, but do we know who the owner is?
We know who the owner is, sir. He has not responded to any attempts to contact him for the duration of this process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? And the action is to approve this?
Let's see. Yes.
Okay. So if there's no questions or comments?
Just maybe one, just for clarification, we have no contact with the owner. Obviously, he's going to refuse to pay us. So the next step for the non-payment of the bill is lien of the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and assessment.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Before we do that, with your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, just so we understand correctly, what we're approving here is that this was indeed meets the requirement. It does indeed meet the requirements set forth in our code for the abatement process that we went through, right? The summary abatement process.
Yes, sir. And to serve a final abatement order signed by the chairman of the board demanding payment.
Okay, with that understanding, I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to approve by Supervisor Rotifer, second by Supervisor Gray. Last chance to make comments or questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 4-0 with one absent.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just advise your board that you are going to be seeing some more of these types of projects coming to you. Your board did direct us to make code compliance a lower priority. We have a very limited building staff who's working on building permits and inspections, and so the paperwork, as you noted, did get set aside. So you will be seeing some of these older cases coming to your board in the next few weeks. We had a little lull, so we're getting caught up at this point.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see. I believe we're at item 17. Is that correct?
Reports.
Reports. Okay. Let's see here. We'll start with Supervisor Rotifer.
Okay, from District 5. On March 20th, I presided over a ad hoc water committee non-meeting. We did not have a quorum, but we did have a useful discussion, and we're proceeding forward with that. On March 21st, I attended the chamber mixer, and on March 22nd, I was very happy to attend with Chairman Hanvelt the Welcome Home for Vietnam Veterans event that was held at Black Oak. It was a wonderful event, and I think very meaningful for those of us that are Vietnam vets, probably meaningful for everybody, but especially meaningful for us. March 23rd in the morning, I had a meeting with constituents about mining opportunities in Tuolumne County. In the evening, kind of dovetailing on the 22nd, I attended the funeral services for one of our outstanding Vietnam veterans, Marine Lee Freeman, who was the captain of the VFW Honor Guard. On March 25th, I had breakfast with Gary Mellon from GCSD to talk about their water challenges. In the afternoon, I met with Michael Sarno, who is the president of TUD, also about water issues. On the 26th, I attended with Supervisor Brennan and CAO orientation at our air quality, animal control, I'm going to forget something, I'm sure, in here, ag, and airport. On the 27th in the morning, I had a pre-meeting along again with Chairman Hanvelt with some TUD folks for a meeting that we were going to have subsequent to that and did at the State Water Quality Control Board. And at noon, I was honored to speak at the Tuolumne County Business Council luncheon. On the 28th, I attended again with Supervisor Hanvelt CSAC's state financing class, and it was a very illuminating history lesson on how money has moved from one bucket to another and back again about 25 times in the last 30 years. And then we did afterwards meet with the State Water Quality Control Board with Michael Sarno, the president of the board at TUD, and also Pete Campa, their general manager. On the 29th of March, My wife and I attended SRT's Buddy Holly production, and that's a wonderful production that's still going on, and I'd encourage everybody to attend it. It's a great show. And then yesterday, I attended the Chamber Government Affairs Committee, and I also participated in ATCA's ad hoc internal affairs joint meeting with their finance committee, and we made some good progress on that. And that's the end of my report.
Supervisor Gray.
Yes, kind of a short report, but very meaningful for me. I was able to spend a week in Salem, Oregon, to welcome my grandson in the world, Clavin John Gray Arthur, 7 pounds, 12 ounces, 20 and a half inches long. That was very special event.
That has to be given to the clerk for the record.
Clerk has one. So that was really the high point of a week of my life. But on the 28th, I attended Museum Board of Governors, discuss issues at the museum. And on Easter, attended the annual Gray Ranch Easter picnic. Down in numbers to about 60 this year because of the iffy weather, but still a fine event. And yesterday morning at about 6:45, I was at the Groveland Community Service District Firehouse, where they transferred the responsibility to the fire from Groveland Community Service District to CAL FIRE, and I don't think I ever saw so many CAL FIRE brass in one spot, but it was good. And they're going to have a formal public event on the day that you wanted to conduct that hearing. I believe it's the 7th.
We sacrifice for you, Supervisor.
I appreciate
Gray.
that, but I think the people in Groveland would appreciate that. So that's my report.
Okay, Supervisor Brennan.
All right, on March 20th, I was in Sacramento at the State Water Board. They were taking comments on the Merced, Stanislaus, and Tuolumne River. It's their draft plan for water releases to deal with the salmon, decline in the salmon population. A lot of interesting comments, but really quite disheartening to me. There are huge impacts, of course, to us because they're talking about up to a 60% unimpeded flow, which will drastically change the lake elevation on New Melones and Don Pedro both. But left out of the discussion, because we're fighting over water allocations, is the watersheds above that feed those reservoirs, and completely left out of any of their documents. And while it's a state agency and the watersheds above it are predominantly managed by the U.S. Forest, there is an opportunity to continue to make the nexus that the forests that are so grossly mismanaged are impacting what water is available to use in the state of California. So aside from air quality, all of the other issues that go along with that, I think we really need to continue to make the case as strongly as we can that if we would manage those watersheds and get some assistance from asking our state, the different state agencies to help encourage the Forest Service to get on this in a much more proactive way, it will benefit all of us. So with that, we will stay engaged. On March 21st, I attended the BOSPC meeting for Supervisor Gray, and that was very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes. March 25th, did have a visit with Mr. Cowden, who wanted to present some ideas that he had. On March 22nd or 26th, we did our orientation, which Supervisor Rutherford already spoke about. And again, thank you to all of the folks that continue to make these presentations and help bring us up to speed. On March 27th, I met with Mr. Maciel, and later that afternoon with Steve Brink. again, with the Forestry Association, trying to get some additional information, ideas on some of these watershed problems. That's it.
Okay. Council.
Thank you. So March was a really good month for our office when it came to victories in the 5th District Court of Appeal. The Seven Legends Ranches case on the March 20th, the 5th District upheld the county's 2009 action to remove a gate across a public road based on public safety and fire concerns. And although we had outside counsel litigating the matter and handling the appeal, when the action was actually taking place, Carlin Drifdahl in our office was the one advising CRA. So I have to give her some kudos because her advice was good advice, and 5th District followed the court ruling in our favor. And then, as you probably recall, the last board meeting I mentioned I was preparing for an oral argument before the 5th District on March 21st. That was in a juvenile dependency case involving the Indian Child Welfare Act. And last week we got the good news that the trial court was affirmed, and that decision was, the ruling was in favor of our Department of Social Services. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Pedro?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I mentioned we had our DPRT meeting, been twice moved, but finally had our quarterly meeting. And a couple of the high points, I think it was a tremendous meeting. I'll send down the dais. Let's see. Here are copies. I know you've received the matrix. That's the dashboard on performance. That was for the last full quarter. We'll have, because the thing was delayed, you'll have the quarter that just ended here soon. And again, remind the board you have the dashboard, but what a lot of folks find particularly interesting attached to it are the land use applications and process. There's some good information on projects happening throughout the county and what their status is. So we were able to do that. Also, passing down just some of the stuff that we collect in emails and opinion pieces on how your departments are doing, and as far as providing good public service in our service counters. So that's there. A couple things that I know that folks felt really good to get off the table was some draft EIR agreement language. The building industry has long sought the ability to have more direct input as environmental impact reports are prepared. Again, those are overseen by our community resource agency, just because we need to have arm's length and control over those documents. But development interests have also said, hey, can't we at least have input directly to the consultants? And we've built that process into our new agreements for EIRs, as well as being able to see progress reports and how money's being spent and those kinds of things. So it's mainly informational and access that folks have asked for, so we've built that into our contracts for development of EIRs, and the folks that were present were very pleased with that. There's a draft resolution that will be coming to your board soon on your homeowners associations, permanent road districts, and CSAs. That'll be coming to the Board Transportation Committee in April, and then on to the board in May, addressing some issues that have been discussed, again, by the building industry and as part of prior actions of this board, and that's now ready to be brought forward. Another item that's we've been wanting to address has been dealing with cul-de-sac length limits and so forth. That, too, a draft resolution had been prepared. I believe at this point it's being circulated, or shortly will be, to our local fire chiefs, and then we'll come to the Board Transportation Committee and then on to the full board. And if you remember, when it comes to things like cul-de-sac length limits, that's all about fire protection, so ultimately that has to go to the Board of Forestry for their approval. But if it makes it through the gauntlet here locally, chances are good that will get through. But that's something else the building industry has long sought. So that'll be coming through your committee processes and the board here shortly. We're also able to give them a first glimpse of the update of the Geiger fee work. That'll be coming to a finance committee later this month, I believe. And anyway, and then on to the Board of Supervisors for formal hearing. And we'll just have the update that fee itself. But in tandem with that, we will bring the options. I know that Supervisor Royce had mentioned about the potential of partial or full waivers of those fees. There's implications with that will need to be discussed as far as being able to show that you've mitigated your cumulative impacts of projects. But I'll probably encourage you to talk about the merits of the fee as it is, and then you can have a separate discussion on what you might want to do as far as waiver, partial, full, whatever. But that was discussed, and I would characterize, I think folks appreciated the fact that we tried to work very diligently to make that fee as realistic as possible, especially considering the downsizing of county government that's occurred in the last several years. In the draft, it does call for a reduction, in the fee, and that was contrasted with some other organizations that have just sought for full fees at all cost, and that's not been the posture of your staff, because I know that's not the posture of this board. So that's coming to you soon as well. And we also heard updates from both environmental health and also your building division on additional improvements that we're making in the case of environmental health and your field trench testing, a much smoother, quicker way of going about doing those field tests. And then you've heard a little bit about batch permits and electronic inspections. And I will be asking, Doug Oliver and Rob Costlevy at some point to come and talk to your board about that and maybe show you, how that's working out. So just again, more, improvements in processes and policies have been discussed. It was a great, very positive meeting. Secure rural schools has been getting a lot of attention lately. I know members of the board have seen probably parts of this information. It's been talked about in the media a little bit of late. This is the letter from the United States Department of Agriculture to Governor Brown, talking about the potential impacts of the sequester on secure rural schools. And I'm just going to point to the last paragraph of the full paragraph of this letter to the governor, saying the governor has the option of having the total sequestered amount of what's that, almost $2 million paid from your Title II funds if you prefer. So if your board recalls, when we do the allocations of the secure rural school funds, I believe that's done in a resolution form that goes to the governor's office. And so there is some linkage at the governor's level. But what would that mean if they did that? If you flip to the next page, you'll see a memo to your board from August of this past year. It was giving your board, here's an option of how to allocate the money or recommend to be allocated. If you took our full amount of you'll see in the first paragraph of $1,439,000, 5.1% of that amount is about $74,000, locally. So what they're talking about is, that could come out of your Title I or II dollars, or if the governor chooses, he could say it all comes out of Title II. And just if you're wondering, what's Title II, on the next page, had Mr. Richardson pull out, this was one of the latest proposals that had come through the RAC committee. You see both Tuolumne and Mariposa. If you look up at the Tuolumne County projects, there's a variety of things that could be impacted if that money were taken all out of Title II. It's all bad. It's either cutting schools or roads or other things that we support through the general funds, as our search and rescue reimbursements and things like that, or these Title II projects, which again are very good, projects that benefit the community. The only thing I'm going to mention to the board on this one, this is just information, but I think this has happened during John and Randy's time. But I remember coming back to the board one time because we were having cuts at the state level, and I was just kind of asking the board, what posture do you want to take when people come and they're facing cuts at the state, I think it was the state level at that point, but be it state or federal, what's the posture of the board? Are we going to say, live within your means, but you're not allowed to cut anything, if you hear what I'm saying? Because if we're saying live within your means, state and federal government, and yet we send letters saying protect everything, what message is that sending? And I'm just saying that was the kind of opener of the discussion. And the board gave some direction. I'm going to find that memo, and it's something I think, given what's happening, particularly in D.C., it's something you might want to look at again and see if the action the board took, I think it was a couple years ago when we did it, and see if that's still the posture that this new board wants to take. Because somewhere, if you're going to cut spending, it has to fall out somewhere. And anyway, that's the point. And the board did fall out. Yeah, so the board took a position, but I think it'd be good with the new board is just to look at that and have a discussion about it. The last thing I'm just going to mention is under our direct access legislation. There's our own legislation that's still alive. Kathleen's still working behind the scenes, with our legislator staff, trying to work with PG&E to see if we can get their support. Kathleen's not particularly optimistic, about that. The bill that your board supported here just recently that would have opened up direct access, my understanding that the opposition from PG&E came so strongly and swiftly that that's essentially dead already. That tells you the strength of PG&E and their ability to get to labor to oppose things. It says we've got a tough road to hoe on getting that legislation through. No one's thrown in the hat yet on our legislation, but we thought that might be the case. The other thing that Kathleen mentioned to me, and it may be tangential to this, it may be totally happenstance, but she did get notice that PG&E is looking at significant increases on their charges for folks like Tuolumne Public Power for our use of their system, to transport our power and those kinds of things. So don't know if it's a direct response to our legislation. It could be total happenstance and timing. But evidently the increases that they're putting forth are significant, and we may need to get the attorneys that helped us with the direct access language help us try to beat that back, because it could significantly increase our cost of providing power, which decreases our benefit to local governments. So that's it.
Ms. Jamar.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, my turn. March 20th, I went to the RCRC board meeting. There were usual complaints and concerns. Most of it at that point was uncertainty. We're starting to see more uncertainty with the same issues that Mr. Pedro just talked about. I left there at the end of the meeting, and I joined Supervisor Brennan at the water board where they were discussing the Delta Water Plan with the Upper San Joaquin, and that was not a very balanced discussion. Single issue advocates were tending to dominate the conversation, and it's hard to say how that was received by the board. We both testified and tried to plead for some balance in that. Next day, I attended Visitors Bureau. A lot going on. They are opening a new office in Sonora and on a trial for several months, and see how that goes. That evening, I went to the chamber mixer. The next day, I met with Ms. Shanahan on Housing Policy Committee items because we had to put off the meeting. And in the evening, I went to the Senior Center for a volunteer celebration and met the new director with the retirement of Mike Ruggles. And that was a very nice event. Also went to the Vietnam Veterans event at Black Oak Casino, which was a very moving event in many respects. I also met with the constituents, along with Supervisor Rodefer, on Saturday the 23rd on mining opportunities in the county. On Monday the 25th, Central Sierra Child Support Services, pretty much an ordinary meeting, not much going on new, but it is a little disappointing to realize that the caseload's down at that operation. We're working on the next budget. Looks to me like the budget's going to be up a little, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And our costs for recovery, we get recovery. This is deadbeat parents not paying their child support is really what it is. And my calculation is somewhere in about $2.65 for every dollar we put in, we get them to pay. I suppose some of them are regular payers too, but the deadbeats, the ones I worry about. Anyway, the next day, I met with Larry Cope on
on economic development issues. I met with Shelley Hansen on the 27th regarding ATCA issues. Then I joined Supervisor Rotifer meeting with the TUD, Pete Campa, and the chairman, doing a little prep for our meeting the following day with the State Water Resources Control Board. I had my monthly meeting with on Craigslist. And I attended the CSAC class with Supervisor Rotifer and Diane Cummins. That woman is amazing. What she knows, she's been everywhere. She knows where every dollar in the state's been spent and where it came from in the last 40 years and how it was manipulated and laundered, I might add. And that schools and VLF and sales tax and how they manipulate those. That was very enlightening. Immediately after that, we did meet with Jeffrey Parks of the State Water Resources Control Board about the Pinecrest Lake level, and we'll be discussing that more fairly shortly. I was encouraged by them that they would not like to be in the process of looking at lake level every year and trying to make some kind of reasonable determination. They would like it to be done at a local level, I think. At least that's the impression I got. Of course, we had the Board of Supervisors closed session last Friday. I attended a Good Friday service, and then I met with Nancy Sykes of the Visitors Bureau. She wasn't at the Visitors Bureau meeting, talked about Visitors Bureau issues. And I went to the Lions Club Cioppino dinner on Friday night, which is Dusty Rhodes' recipe, and that was a pretty good thing. Anyway, that's the end of my report. I think we go to closed session. Would you read the closed session issues or items, please?
Closed session, conference of real property negotiators, price and terms, Craig Pedro, Daniel Richardson, Authority Government Code Section 54956.8, several parcels located in Jamestown Mine, APN 58200-27 through 30, 35 through 35, and then 56001 through 03, and 5908042. The next one is also price and terms, same authority and government code, for two parcels located south of the former Jamestown landfill, and that's an APN 590701 and 140-23. One more price and terms negotiation. This one has Craig Pedro and Mo Frank, and the same authority with real property commonly known as the Little House, and that's an APN 66070-06. Then we have a closed session conference with labor negotiators, Craig Pedro, Bill Morris, and Friend, Authority Government Code Section 54957.6, all bargaining units. And then we also have two public employee performance evaluations, Authority Government Code Sections 54957. Titles are County Counsel and County Administrator.
Okay. Are there any public comment on any of the closed session issues? Seeing none. Do we expect to report out on any of these? Okay. We will recess to closed session and return later. Thank you very much.